Hey, we're live. We're live. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Claret and Booze Up Show, the FA Cup special. And for this one, we called out the big guns to furnish us all with some proper FA Cup related information. The one and only Nigel, the shed man. How you doing, Nigel? You all right?
Yeah, warming up.
Warming up. Is it cold in the shed? In your shed?
Well, I've got me coat on, my bench coat, obviously.
Yeah.
And I've got my zip up top on, and then I've got my t-shirt on, and I've got my vest on.
You lay it up.
And the woolly hat might go on if it don't fucking warm up. I've got 2 heaters on.
Get out.
Yeah, I should have come down here a bit earlier, and I forgot. Yeah. To warm it
Good
up.
stuff. How are you, John? You all right?
Yeah, all good, mate. Just back to work this week. You know, the 5th emergency service in London, getting people around town. You know.
And, you up with TFL?
My hero. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's been a good week. Been a good week so far. Good start to the year, really.
Oh, good stuff. Gal, you?
Yeah, fine. I'm locked in my little bunker inside my shed, and we're a balmy 20 degrees inside here, so it's all right. I've got
nice and toasty.
Nice and toasty, yeah.
Oh, good stuff. Well, as per usual, this is going to be a bit of a marathon show. We're going to go through just to give you a quick heads up on the agenda. We're going to do the FA Cup memory lane, where Nigel's going to give us a bit of an intro into sort of West Ham history in the FA Cup. He's going to run through a few of our more memorable seasons early on. Then Gary's going to take the 1980 FA Cup. John's got one that means a lot to him as well. What year is that, John?
1990-91.
There you go. That was one that sort of from some of your earliest memories, wasn't it?
I'll go into it, but it was from
memories. Yeah.
It sort of it made me a proper West Ham fan. It made me fall in love with the team. But so that was good.
Oh, good stuff. And then Gary's going to pick up on 2006 because again, I didn't have time to do my prep, so Gary's picking that one up for me. And then after that, we've got the Claret and Booze news. Gary's got 3 stories. We're going to bring back Mock the Week is back. And then after that, we'll stick around. We're going to do the Kahoot quiz, the FA Cup Kahoot quiz. I think we've got 13 or 14 questions this week, and you can take on the champion Nigel Kahn, who won last time out. And we'll tweet out the Kahoot code when we're probably about sort of 20 minutes away from starting that. So
about half 11.
That half 11, yeah, it's gonna be a while. There's a few people in the chat, John. Do you want to run through them?
Yeah, we've got a few people already, more than 7.
Showing off,
giving it loud. Evening to Mr. Matthew Crawley. Also, hello to Christopher Murphy. Pam Flower. What a lovely name, Pam Flower.
Pam's first time here, actually. I hope you enjoy it, Pam.
Who is it?
It's
okay.
Pam's first.
Oh yeah, of course it says it there. I'm sorry, I can't read. I'm a taxi driver. Sorry. Evening, lads. Evening to James G. Evening to Jordan. He's one of Nick's own, apparently.
Hello, Jordan.
Evening to Paul. Neil from Down Under. He's probably watching the cricket, Nigel, but it's probably more realistic time for him, isn't it?
Well, it's 7:30 a.m. in the morning. I doubt the cricket started yet.
No. But when it does start.
Oh, right.
Evening to Claire. She's a mainstay. She's looking forward to the quiz, Claire, and she's going to beat you, Nigel.
Yeah, she is. All right. Well, let's get on with the show. Let's go into our FA Cup feature. Nigel, are you okay to sort of kick us off with a little bit of an intro? Do you want to drive this one?
Yeah, okay, people. So we're going to take you back into the mists of time. So it's the FA Cup special, and there's the famous trophy itself. Well, not a real one, obviously, but the Chinese manufactured copy that I was stupid enough to buy. But back to 1923, it's a very special cup final. We know about it, obviously, throughout our history. It's the first FA Cup final played at Wembley. West Ham faced Bolton Wanderers. The crowd was officially, I think, 120,000, but obviously, with it being the first at Wembley, Wembley Stadium was built in just a year.
Was it 120,000?
Well,
Yeah.
Officially.
Right.
So that was the expected capacity of the stadium at the time.
Yeah.
And what happened was obviously possibly over 200,000 fans were in attendance because people turned up without tickets. The turnstiles were shut, I think, couple of hours before the game, and thousands were still pouring in on trains, on buses, caravans, everything. That they just, I'm not besmirching the EastEnders, but piled into the stadium, broke down fences. Basically Wembley was not prepared at all for the crowd that turned up. So they claim now that it was over 200,000 people in the ground.
Really? Yeah.
Now,
it was right up to the edge of the pitch, wasn't it? So you can believe that, right?
Well, the kickoff was delayed and the crowd had encroached on the pitch. Yeah. And the stories go that obviously we've seen it's now known as the White Horse Final. I won't tell you the name of the horse, but I know it just in case he's put it in the quiz.
I know it.
So it was the White Horse obviously stood out on the crowd control. It trampled all over the pitch, but managed to push the crowds back. But one of the big factors was the crowds. And I suppose it shows you the mark of respect. And obviously, was that the King was in attendance. I think it was George V. And when he arrived at the stadium, as befitted arriving anywhere, they played God Save the King. And so those that don't know the words, it's the same as what we've got now, just swap Queen for King. Yeah. And the crowd all stood to attention, and it helped stop the crushing and clear the fans off the pitch.
Right, okay.
Now, I've got here, this is not an original, because that is like the holy grail of, and it would cost me approximately £600, £700, up to £1,000 for a 1923 original, but they made these back in the day. I've got, for some reason, more than one.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. But it's a replica of the program of the day, so it outlines who the dignitaries were from the FA.
Yeah.
That was J.C. Clegg, Mr. Wall, and Mr. Kingscott. Pick me up after the match and have a Reed Stout. There you go. And if you want your chocolate, you had your Meltis. I love things like this. I know it's a bit geeky, but it's a snapshot of what went on. That my favourite is this advert, which is the Hammers versus the Trotters. Right. And as you can see, the Hammers are banging their head over. And it says from the original Tutankhamun's tomb, it's supposed to depict the very first ever football game cartoon. And that was for Pinus Navy cigarettes.
Oh, remember them well.
Whatever Navy Cup were. But there's brief pictures of what Wembley area was going to be. Remember, the stadium was built first, but it was built for the Empire exhibition. Yeah. So all the exhibition halls were all added. There was loads of stuff put in there. It was like an Indian temple being built there, all for the exhibition, and it explains what's going to go on. And obviously, it would have been the first site of the famous Twin Towers. Yeah. So. West Ham's team was managed by Sid King back then. Not 23 years he'd been West Ham manager. Imagine that, 23 years. And it had the likes of Vic Watson up front, Jimmy Ruffle, very famous. Charlie Painter was his assistant, who would then go on. Jack Tresden, George Kay was captain. He's the man in the colour photo, Nick.
Right, okay, yeah.
So that's George Kay, who went on to manage Liverpool.
What is chap here?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
In the West Ham shirt. So he went on to manage Liverpool Football Club in the 40s, I believe. So the game itself, Bolton scored very early to go 1-0 up. And there's a bit of contentious issue about the goal, because where the crowds were up to the touchline, it said that the ball went out of play but bounced back in, I think, off of a spectator. Right. And or it got stuck in the crowd, and a West Ham player went in to get it, got caught in the crowd. Bolton I think, took the throw on or played on, and the ball ended up in the back of the goal, and the referee gave the goal.
Right.
So I think that was very early on that Bolton were 1-0 up. What you got to remember about West Ham back then was up until West Ham were a non-league team until 1919. Now, remember, league football stopped. We were in the Southern League till 1914. World War I stopped all football, didn't restart till 1919. At the start of the 1919 season, West Ham were elected to apply to join League Division 2 and were put straight into Division 2. Left the Southern League and actually had to pay a fine to the Southern League.
Right.
Okay.
So now we're in Division 2, season 22-23. Not only do we get to the cup final, we actually win promotion to Division 1.
Success.
For the first ever time.
Yeah. Blimey.
So that was the year West Ham really became a big side then, right?
Yes, yeah, getting noticed. Vic Watson's really starting with signed Vic in 1920, and he was really starting to get amongst the goals now.
Yeah.
So, sorry, Nigel. You know, Vic Watson's obviously got a ridiculous goal record.
Yes.
Does that goal record carry over from the league before, or is that just in the actual?
No, so he joined in 1920.
Oh, right. Okay.
In fact, there's a story on Sunday morning. No, there's a story on my website, 6foot2.co.uk today, which explains the signing of Vic Watson and why it seems a bit strange. Quickly, all the record books say we signed him from Wellingborough Town.
Yeah.
But when you go back and check the record books of the day, you can never find Vic Watson playing for Wellingborough Town.
Okay.
Definitely plays for Cambridge Town, and he definitely plays for a team called Peterborough Motors. Teams are still going today. Cambridge Town is now known as Cambridge City, by the way.
Cambridge City, yeah.
Cambridge United were known as Abbey Town.
Right.
Yeah. So, but anyway, that's Vic Watson was becoming a star. Went on to play 5 games for England, scored 4 goals.
What happened to the 6th game then? Why didn't he get the 6th game?
Well, back then, the England team was picked by a committee.
Oh, right.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it wasn't picked by a manager. A committee in the FA used to sit down and go, if you face fits, they picture. And back then in the 20s, if you look at the players, you had the likes of Dixie Dean in front of him.
Yeah.
Right.
Outstanding goal. I mean, not that Vic wasn't an outstanding goal scorer, and I think he got shortchanged on the England thing to play 5 games and score 4 goals.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of players that never even got a chance for England. So, one thing about the cup run that we will all, me and Gary definitely will remember. You boys should remember it as well. Do you remember the old West Stand before they knocked it down?
Yeah.
Well, that was built in 1925 by the Kearns Building Company.
Yeah.
We all know who the Kearns are.
Yeah.
Right. Now, that was paid for out of the profits of the promotion and FA Cup season.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is it really?
Know that.
It was.
Yeah.
Oh, blimey.
Yeah. So it was called the Grandstand back then, obviously with the lower West terracing and the upper tiers.
Yeah.
So that was opened in 1925.
So even from that success, early success, the history of Upton Park was sort of made from that in certain ways, wasn't it? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, from that success. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's
So,
mad.
and off of the back of that, obviously that did catapult realistically West Ham into the big time, and we stayed in the top flight until 1932, I believe.
Right.
It's 32 or 33. Yeah, 1933, 32 before we got relegated.
Yeah.
Do you know if the fans ever sang "We're Massive Everywhere We Go," or was that not a thing then?
No, they didn't sing that, and I'm not sure about that. I've gone through newspapers of the game in 1923, and I'm not sure that they sung Bubbles there either.
Do you think singing was a thing then, though? Do you think singing was a thing?
What used to happen is they would have at cup finals. They would have what was called organised singing, and this went on actually. I believe up until the 1950s.
Yeah.
So they would issue like a song sheet. I know in cup
Like being in
finals,
church, like being in church.
when you got the program, you
Yeah.
would get the song sheet, and you got to remember that the cup final song "Abide with Me."
Yeah.
I love that song.
I know it was definitely sung at the 1924 FA Cup final.
Right.
Because I think there's a recording of it. Or they made a recording of it of the cup final crowd singing it.
Yeah.
And I've actually heard that. So,
but that was that. I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles. That was like an early 1920s. You know, it was sheet music, wasn't it? It was released.
Yeah, it was written by a couple of Americans. Funny enough, I believe in 1919.
Right.
But it was around the time of the cup final or just after. You remember, it's linked to this boy. It's said to be linked to the boy Billy Murray, I believe his name, who played at Park School in East Ham. His teacher, he played West Ham boys football, and his teacher was linked to the club or good friends with Painter and King.
Yeah.
And, you know, back in those days, you know, kids football could draw crowds of 20,000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
So, you know, back then football was obviously, even youth football was well supported.
Yeah.
So I think they got. I'm pretty sure the stories they got to like the English Schools Cup final. English Schools Cup final quite often was played at Upton Park.
Yeah.
So
football was always popular like that. I mean, I've been married twice. My first wife, her granddad, used to play for various clubs. Like her uncle used to play for Spurs in that 60-61 double winning
team.
Yeah.
What was his name?
But her granddad used to play for clubs like Brighton and whatever else, and they were in like the third division and things
Division
like that.
3 South. It would have been,
and when you look at some of the pictures that he used to have, some of the crowds they had for a Division 3 South crowd, these were massive crowds, like 20, 30, 40,000 all the way around. Incredible. I don't know what happened to football. You know,
I mean, going slightly off tangent, I think
expensive for a start.
Well, it sort of moved away from the working man, but I think realistically, if you look at it, possibly the advent of television affected the lower leagues. I'm not talking about the top league, the big clubs. Yeah,
maybe.
But, you know, as you say, you go back to the 1930s and look at the crowds that some of the lower clubs were getting, the Hartlepool and the people like that. Yeah. And you know, everyone in the town supported the team.
Yeah, they couldn't support Man United living in Liverpool or London. They didn't have the way of accessing it.
I mean, a big thing was, you know, one of the reasons why football kicks off at 3 o'clock on a Saturday. I believe that the factories used to shut at 1 or 2 o'clock. People used to work a 5.5 day week, so they would work Saturday mornings. Factories would shut between 1 and 2 o'clock. Kickoff was 3 o'clock to enable the crowds to attend the game after the factories. And that is why we kick off at 3 o'clock on a Saturday. Well, we used to.
Yeah. Don't happen very often now, does it?
Before Murdoch.
But that served us well, didn't it? That money from that 1923 FA Cup final, that served us well. That West Ham was up until that Dr. Martins was built. It was also hit by a bomb, wasn't it, during World War II? That's why it ended up a funny shape in the corner.
No, actually, the funny shape in the corner was, I believe, always there anyway.
Was that a feature?
Yeah, it was. I don't know why. Originally, I think there was a church in the corner, or you could always see the church in the corner. What people don't realise is when West Ham took over the ground, it was already a football ground. There was a football team called Bowling Castle, believe it or not, that played there. And when West Ham moved into the ground in 1904, the programmes used to say West Ham United incorporating Bowling Castle FC.
Oh, right.
Okay, fair enough.
But when you think about the money they got from the cup final to bring it to a more personal sort of level, you know, my son's 10, Ben's not much older, Nick. They've sat in that stand because of what happened in 1923.
Exactly.
I mean, that's quite. I mean, it's unbelievable the history that it gave us. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, the stand stood until 2000 when it was knocked down.
Yeah.
So you know, it's obviously it went through a few changes. So he got hit by a bomb. I think the A block, funny enough, where I started as a season 1977. I think that was added in the 60s.
Right.
And then if you they did various changes to it to try and make it a bit warmer and and they built the Greenwood lower bar, changed the lower west from standing to seating in 1981.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was, that was, funny enough, as I say, though, it was built by the Kearns family.
Yeah.
Gow, I don't know, did you ever go Filbert Street?
Yeah, I've been to Filbert Street.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you'd been to Filbert Street, I don't know if you remember the 2-tier stand behind the goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was an exact replica of our West Stand.
Oh, was it?
And the reason for that was because it was built by W.C. Kearns.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. The Kearns family quickly, obviously, started off in the ironworks. The original Kearns was part of the people that formed West Ham in 1900. His son, he was never a chairman. His son, William Kearns, became chairman in the 30s, I believe, and they had set up a construction company, and they used to specialise in building football stands, and they built loads of football stands around the country.
Wow, I didn't
Ever
know
play
that.
at Averley? Did you ever play at Averley? The old original Averley?
No.
They used to hold cup finals, Sunday cup final. Well, their crappy little stand before they got the new ground, that was built by the Kearns family. Wimbledon Dog Track, where Wimbledon FC have now moved to, or the site of, Wimbledon Dog Track was owned by the Kearns family. They were big into Speedway, but they never owned West Ham Speedway.
Right.
Bit of a strange thing.
Yeah.
And the Kearns family are actually responsible for bringing Speedway to the country.
Yeah.
Cool.
So for 1923, that was it. A lot of that team stayed together for a good 7-8 years, and we did okay in the first division. We couldn't really repeat the final. The nearest we got, I think, was in 1933. We got to the semi-final, and we played Everton at Wolverhampton Wanderers, where we lost 2-1. Everton then went on to win the final.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a famous picture of all the fans at Molineux from that day as well. But that was really 1933, the last time West Ham did well. We got to the 5th round a few times and everything else. But then, we turn up in 1964. We've progressed through, Sid King's moved on, passed on. Charlie Painter takes over, hands over to Ted Fenton after the war, 1950. Ted Fenton's moved on. 1961, we bring in Ron Greenwood. If you look at that picture, go back to that picture, you can see there the A block has not been built.
Oh, yeah. Oh, right. Okay.
That's on the lower west.
Yeah.
So that is actually where B block was.
So it's like a little terrace in the corner, isn't it?
Yeah. So that was all terracing all the way, but that corner was open terracing.
Yeah.
Which, if you remember where the police box used to be.
Yeah.
That roughly that corner between the South Bank and there. That's that
lovely
picture.
old photo that is.
But yeah, so 1964. We're progressing under Greenwood. We've been promoted in 58 under Fenton, but we've got the mainstays now of Bobby Moore, Jeff Hurst, but not Martin Peters. Now, what happened with Martin Peters was he did, Bobby Moore, we know 58. I think early 60s was Jeff Hurst and Martin Peters, who I think a couple of years younger. And what happened was it was Boxing Day 1963 and West Ham played Blackburn Rovers at Upton Park. It's a famous, actually, the Boxing Day 1963. I think more goals were scored that day than any other day. West Ham lost, I think, 8-2 to Blackburn Rovers. Martin Peters played that day. He was then dropped for the Blackburn Rovers return match, which I believe was 2 days later, and replaced by Eddie Bovington.
Right.
And West Ham won that game after losing 8-2 at home, then beat Blackburn 2 days later, 3-1 away.
Brilliant.
From that day, Eddie Bovington stayed in the team. Martin Peters did not get his place back. So Moore, Hurst and Peters did not win the FA Cup in 64. Moore and Hurst did.
Yeah.
His place, every Bovington. Funny little fact about the 64 team, I believe that 7 players either their first or last name began with a letter B. Strange facts.
Can you name them all?
Bonds, Brown, Burkitt, Bovington,
Yeah.
Johnny Byrne,
Braybrook.
Peter Braybrook,
Yeah.
and obviously Bobby Moore.
And the funny thing is, I couldn't tell you whether you're right or wrong.
Well, in goal was Jim Standen for West Ham, who actually played county cricket as well, I believe, for Gloucestershire, and won the county cricket title with them as well. I don't know what year, but people may not know this. You know, a lot of newcomers won't. That, you know, a lot of footballers, or quite a few footballers, the season would finish in April, so the cup final was the first week in May. And then they could go and play cricket for the summer. And those that were good enough, and believe it or not, Jeff Hurst and Bobby Moore were possibly both good enough to have played for Essex. I think Jeff Hurst actually did play one first team game for Essex Cricket Club.
Wow.
Blimey.
It was common back then, wasn't it? It was common to play multiple sports.
It was common to play multiple sports. Yeah. So 64, the big thing about 64 actually, I think, was more the semi-final victory away at Hillsborough. We beat Manchester United 3-1 in torrential rain on a mud-soaked pitch. The winner was scored by Ronnie Boyce. Yeah. I think Jeff Hurst got a couple as well that day. Obviously, Bobby Charlton, Dennis Law, and Georgie Best, I believe, were all in the Man United team that day. But the Man United were the big favourites to win that game.
Yeah,
we win through, and we're faced against second division Preston North End in the final. Right. I'm sure a lot of us know that we ended up winning it 3-2. It was an end-to-end game, quite entertaining. I believe Preston went 2-1 up. We made it 2-2. Jeff Hurst header, which I believe hit the bar, come back down, but definitely crossed the line. So if you look at the highlights, you'll find on YouTube, I'm pretty sure that's what happened. Getting him ready. I think it was the same end as 66 as well, possibly, but I'm not sure about that. But so 1964, and then it was virtually the last kick of the game. Ronnie Boyce heads the goal in. Playing for Preston that day, he became the youngest ever player to play in an FA Cup final. Was Howard Kendall. Yeah. Right. Preston.
Oh, Everton,
yeah. Preston at the time, a Division 2 team. Yeah. And there's a theme that runs through West Ham's Cup final appearances up until 2006. So remember, we were a Division 2 team. We've now won the Cup, beating a Division 2 team.
Yeah.
In Preston. So, and West Ham win the FA Cup for the first time. Cool. You know, they brought the cup back to Newham Town Hall through the streets. There's some great old footage on YouTube, like newsreel stuff, and a bloke who had a cine camera filmed a parade through Stratford. I think they brought the bus on the Sunday down through Stratford High Street, down to Plaistow Broadway, past Plaistow Station, and up the Barking Road.
I love those old photos because it's like a single decker bus with a massive sunroof, isn't it?
Yeah, they just slide the sunroof open and they have to sit on. Can you imagine health and safety today? Having an absolute fit with that, and that is obviously that set the scene for us to then go on and win the European Cup Winners' Cup.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, the European Cup Winners' Cup was the European trophy for all the cup winners of every European country, which was scrapped, I believe, in the mid-90s because they realised that what had started to happen was that teams that were playing in the Champions League were also winning the FA Cup. Too many runners-up were actually qualifying it, and it sort of nullified the tournament's name in a bit.
But back then, that European Cup Winners' Cup was a major European competition, wasn't it? Because the European Cup, there were a lot of teams in its early days where countries didn't compete and stuff like that. So I think Celtic won it in 1967, the European Cup, was it? 1967.
Yes.
And Spurs won. Spurs were the only English clubs to win a European trophy before us, weren't they? They won the Cup Winners' Cup in
63. Yeah. So what had happened is they started off the European Cup, I believe, 52-53. British teams British teams did not enter, or English teams did not enter the competition.
Sorry, Nigel. How early did Spurs? So was Spurs the first English team, to win a European Cup?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh fuck! Really?
Yeah. The year
Why did you make another reference to it, Nick?
Oh,
You've got away with that.
Sorry.
We did say that.
Oh, yeah.
So, pay attention in cars at the back. So quick thing of European football. Real Madrid won the first 5 European Cups.
Yeah.
Obviously, Manchester United entered it in the late 50s, and it culminated in the Munich air crash in 58, which they were realistically they were due to play a league game, and they were hoping it would be postponed, and the FA refused to postpone, or the Football League, refused to postpone the game at the weekend. So Man United were forced to jump on the plane and fly back from Belgrade, stopped off at Munich, and that's where obviously the Munich air crash happened.
Yeah.
I don't know when the European Cup Winners' Cup started. I think it was early 60s. And then Tottenham won the FA Cup in 61. They won it again in 62, and then won the European Cup Winners' Cup in 1963 to become the first British team to win a European trophy.
I just said it again.
Yeah, we won it 2 years later.
Well, to be fair, we didn't mind Spurs back then. I didn't mind them all the way up to the 80s, to be honest. I mean, it was just, a massive achievement for us, though. I mean, winning the FA Cup and then following that up with a major European trophy like it was then is, what an incredible achievement for us.
I mean, it sort of sets the tone for the modern day West Ham that we know now, because what you got to remember is West Ham, I may baffle people now. West Ham were formed in 1900 out of the ashes of the Thames Ironworks Football Club, being shut down for whatever reason. So for 64 years we'd won nothing. We got promoted in 58 into Division 1. So for the first 58 years we'd spent 49 of them playing Division 2 football, basically, or what modern day Championship football was, or non-league football. So we were not a big club until realistically Ron Greenwood turns up and picks up sort of what Ted Fenton has started, makes it even better.
Yeah.
And we win the FA Cup, and that sets us on the route. I think the European Cup Winners' Cup really made West Ham obviously the team it is now.
So we won 3 trophies in 3 years then, didn't we?
Yeah.
Could you imagine that? That's crazy, isn't it? It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
What a great period. What a great period.
I mean, the only thing is, I don't want to besmirch the thing, but it was easier to win a European tournament back then. I think we played 4 rounds before the final.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
But then you can say that all the way up to the European Cups in the 70s and the 80s.
Yes.
Right?
You can only beat what's in front of you, though. And that's the thing, What people don't realise is that in 1966, when we defended the trophy, we got all the way to the semi-final where we lost to Dortmund.
Right.
So, 65 was the first ever time we'd played in European football as well.
Yeah.
So our debut in a European tournament, to go on and win it.
Yeah. Well, when you think about it, our record in that tournament, I mean, we came runners up, we won it, and we got to the semi-final. It's an amazing. I mean, I think we've only been in it 3 times, right? And we got 4 times, because we got to the quarterfinals in '81, didn't we?
Yes.
We lost to Dynamo Tbilisi.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
So we've never been in that tournament. We've never been outside the quarterfinals.
No.
Doing bad.
Our European pedigree when we was in it was pretty decent.
Yeah.
Pretty decent. So there's obviously not a lull in fortunes. You know, typical West Ham. We'll have a good season, we'll have a bad season, but then we get to 74, 75. Now, in the space of, what are we talking, 10 to 11 years from winning in 64 to the, January 1975, we start the FA Cup run. There's not one player left from that team.
Yeah.
Right.
Obviously, we know Standing, I think, left late 60s off to America, where he still lives this day. Bond went to Torquay, I believe, became player manager down there. And then slowly but surely, the players drifted away. And then Bobby Moore left January 74 to go to Fulham.
Right.
Obviously, who would ever expect 18 months later that Bobby Moore's last appearance at Wembley, and I think it appeared like 80 odd times on the Wembley pitch. If you look at his England and his West Ham appearances and everything else, that Bobby Moore would be playing for Fulham. Second division again, another second division team in the West Ham final. Fulham face off West Ham. Right. The run to the final or the semi-final, we'd beat the favourites, Ipswich Town. Fulham had beat Birmingham City in their semi-final. Both, I believe, went to replays. Clive Thomas was the referee in the semi-final. Definitely in the replay. And this is the funny thing. We boo him now. But Ipswich fans that remember the 75 replay, I think it was played at Stamford Bridge, hate Clive Thomas as well because of the 75 semi-final, where if you watch the highlights, he disallows 2 Ipswich goals for offside that looked totally onside. But still, listen, the records don't lie. We progressed to the final. I should have come to the final programs. I've missed out. The 64 final. There's a theme here with Wembley programs because there's the 1965 final where they've just literally took the trophy off.
The lid off.
64, 65. So to the point, Bovril on the back of 64. Same Bovril advert on the back of 65.
He ain't aged a bit, the geezer.
So,
it's where it belongs. I still get tempted to have a Bovril.
I love a
Bovril.
So we move on to the 1975 Cup final program. Where have I put that? That's the Charity Shield in 75. Oh, I'll find that later. I've got that somewhere else in my collection. So 1975, we get to face Fulham. Billy Bonds is now captain of West Ham. Inherited after Bobby Moore left to join Fulham. But in fact, what had happened is Frank Lampard Sr. should have been made captain when Bobby Moore left. But what happened was apparently Frank intimated he wanted to leave the club to Ron Greenwood. Ron Greenwood thought this was disloyal. Lampard and disloyal to West Ham. Thought this and made Billy Bonds captain instead.
He took himself off. Lampard took himself off up the motorway for some sort of interview with someone, and then I don't know what the story is, but I don't know what club it was either that he was going to have a little chat with. Yeah, but he got outside of London, didn't like it very much, and came back again.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That's it's funny how that story seems to do. But listen, what we do know, and that is on record, that I think Ron Greenwood had said that, Frank Lampard. I don't know if this was after the Blackpool debacle, the FA Cup in 1972, the 71-72, where West Ham were playing Blackpool in the 3rd or 4th round of the FA Cup. 3 or 4 West Ham players decide to go to Brian London, who's a boxer, his nightclub in Blackpool, because the game, apparently the pitch, they claimed that they were told the pitch was unplayable.
Yeah.
On the morning of the game, the referee has a look and says, no, we're playing. West Ham get beat 4-0, and obviously a few West Ham fans had also been in Brian London's nightclub that night and had seen the West Ham players, who were Brian Deere, Jimmy Greaves, Bobby Moore and Clyde Best, and Rob Jenkins, who was the physio, or the he was the physio at the time, and they'd been in the club. They claim they didn't drink. Now, Clyde Bessie's teetotal, so he definitely only had orange juice.
Yeah.
Jimmy Greaves and Brian Deere, I don't know. Bobby Moore, we all know, was a drinker. But anyway, they said they were professional. They said they were tucked up in bed by midnight. They didn't play the game till 3 o'clock in the afternoon. But when you get 4-0 in a big cup upset away at Blackpool, in front of Match of the Day cameras, John Motson commentary, it don't look good, does it?
No.
But back to 75, we're in the final, 100,000 fans at Wembley. And we beat quite a dull game, realistically. The hero of the day, Alan Taylor, in the December of 1974, Alan Taylor was playing for Rochdale in Division 4.
Yeah.
I believe £20,000 later, he joins West Ham in the January. Can't play in the early games, or didn't play in the early games, but in the
injured,
6th round. I don't know if he's injured. I know we signed him. I think we signed him after the 3rd round.
Yeah, because he didn't play. He didn't play for Rochdale because I think he was injured or something.
Yeah,
my brother used to tell me all these stories.
So he in the 6th round we're drawn away at Arsenal, at Highbury. Alan Taylor scores 2 goals in the March muddy pitch and everything, to set us on the way for a 2-0 victory. He then scores 2 goals in the 2-1 win in the semi-final after, I think, a 0-0 draw.
Yeah.
So that's 4 goals for Alan Taylor. And, of course, in the final, he scores 2 goals.
Yeah.
Fortunate goals, if you look at them. Peter Mellor was the Fulham goalkeeper.
Yeah.
And
they all count, though.
They all count. But I may have been, I definitely would have held the second one, I think.
I've seen you donning your gloves. Remember?
There you go. So, he had a lot to beat. But Fulham with Bobby Moore in the team, Alan Mallory, 2 aging players. The biggest game they'd ever been in as a football club, Fulham, until they got to the UEFA Cup final. So, and that led us into then quickly European Cup Winners' Cup again, where 4 rounds later we beat. We beat a Finnish team. We beat Ararat Erevan, which were, I think, Russian back then, but actually I think were Georgian.
Yeah.
We then obviously played in Belgium against Den Haag. A great comeback victory after losing away at Belgium, and then Eintracht Frankfurt, very famous.
Best atmosphere ever at Upton Park for those that were there.
So famous that last year, because we were in 20 last year, my details were given to the Eintracht Frankfurt historian.
Yeah,
and I exchanged some newspaper clippings and program that I had of the game, because Eintracht Frankfurt have named, I believe, one of their corporate boxes West Ham United.
Wow.
And I've still got his email. Nice, yeah. The historian said, because I'm waiting for COVID to finish for me to go over there and meet him. He said, yes, we're still upset about that game.
We should return the favour, though. If they've done something decent like that, we should name a box after.
It's once all this COVID nonsense is, I can get back out to Germany with me mate EB, and we're going to trundle down. I'll contact old historian because he's quite famous in Germany, and he sent me photographs, and they've got a proper museum, not a shed. Yeah. So we beat them where we faced Anderlecht in the final. We lose that 4-2. Frank Lampard gets injured, pulls the stomach muscle while passing the ball. Unfortunately, it was a pass that fell short, and it gave Anderlecht an equaliser. And then in the second half, they went on to score 2 more goals. Right. But Francois van der Elst, who, for those that know the football in the 80s, was one of the first foreign players to come and play for West Ham, European players, who we signed from New York Cosmos in 1982.
They were a fantastic side back then, though, Anderlecht. You know, Robbie Renson-Brink and Van der Elst, loads of great players, Dutch internationals, weren't they?
And also the weird anomaly of it was obviously in '65 we'd played the European Cup Winners' Cup final at Wembley. We knew the ground. We played TSV Munich. I should have said that 1860 as they're known, who I think are now a Division 3 team in Germany, but still celebrate that game because it's the biggest game in their history. We actually opened the new Munich stadium by playing a friendly against TSV Munich.
Really?
In 2006 or 7 or 2005, I believe. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
We are massive. We are massive then at TSV Munich. We are
at TSV Munich. Yeah, to the point that at some of their games, I got photographs of a game they played, and they actually held up. They did a tifo of Bobby Moore shaking hands with their captain, and this was about 8-9 years ago.
Yeah,
wow,
that's amazing.
So you know they still look back fondly on that game.
Yeah. Wow.
So I just said Dutch. I meant Belgian, obviously.
Well, no, but Robbie Rensenbrink was Dutch.
Rensenbrink was Dutch. Yeah.
So they had a few Dutch players in for them. So 65 we play at Wembley. 75. 76. We're at Heysel Stadium. Well, that's Anderlecht's stadium at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously they had, it worked in their favour. And that, I suppose, wraps up my 3 FA Cup. Any questions at the back?
That is brilliant.
No, I thought that was fantastic, Nigel. I'm going to go and talk about 1980 now, and in nowhere near as much depth as you.
I don't know if you saw this from Anton, Nigel. Look, West Ham history lesson. Get into my veins. Proper love it.
Yeah, you go.
Yeah.
Get in my veins. Get in my veins.
Yeah, but if you listen, Anton, mate, you just got to talk to your dad though, so you've got it at home as well.
He mentioned his dad.
Yeah, he did. He said,
his dad, Jim
Standen, is in my old man's all-time 11.
Yeah, so the goalkeeper from the 60s.
Yeah.
So look, I'm going to take you through 1980 now, and I'm not going to do a load of, I'm not going to pull up these facts out of thin air like Nigel does. I'm going to go through a structure because that's the way I do things. But let's say it. Look, the season 1979-1980, one of the greatest ever to be a West Ham fan. I mean, let's be honest, but it didn't really start that way. We finished the season before. We were 5th in Division 2, failing to return to the top flight at the first time of asking. So we started our second season in purgatory. But before we talk about the cup run itself, I want you to appreciate the magnitude of what we did and who we had to overcome. And so that's why I've done this. It's a bit of an odd way of doing it, but it's the way I've done it because I wanted you to see all the teams that we faced in that cup run. And I want you to see where they were, the end of the season before. So, we finished 5th. But when you look at West Brom, Everton, Arsenal, Villa, these are top teams in Division 1. And we were a relatively struggling Division 2 side. Swansea got promoted in 3rd place, obviously. So they were also a 2nd Division side, and so were Leyton Orient. But West Brom, they finished 3rd. Everton finished 4th. I mean, these were proper good sides. Okay. Yeah. We went into the 3rd round. A cup run began. 3rd round proper, miraculous 1-1 away draw with 1st Division West Bromwich Albion, and where Phil Parkes, and this is a quote from Phil Parkes. He said he thinks that's his best game ever. It was kind of miraculous that he managed to keep West Brom out because this was a great West Brom side. Cyril Regis, Laurie Cunningham, Peter Barnes, Brian Robson, people like that, right? And but funny enough, we took the lead. And then they got a fluky goal later on to bring it back to 1-1 and take us back to Upton Park for the replay. 3 days later, as it was done in those days, in front of a crowd of 31,000 at Upton Park, we beat them 2-1 with goals from Jeff Pike and Trevor Brooking. A vintage display from Trevor Brooking and Alan Devonshire on a battered and bumpy winter pitch at Upton Park.
I was out.
Yeah, I wasn't at that one, but I was at this one.
Yes.
So that is Leyton Orient. So, and this was a few days after Nick was born, 26th of January, 1980. We went to Orient. Yeah, we went to Orient for the 4th round. What a week indeed. Orient were my second team. In that season and a few before, we'd been going to Orient one week and West Ham the next. Whoever was at home at the time, Orient were my granddad's team, and he always came with us to watch West Ham and to Orient. He loved Trevor Brooking, incidentally. He said the only reason he went to watch West Ham was to see Trevor Brooking. We ran out 3-2 winners in this tie with an own goal and from them and 2 goals from Ray Stewart, including the regulation penalty. Orient were only a few places below us in Division 2. Very decent side. Players like John Shadozy, who went on to play for Spurs. Billy Jennings, former West Ham. Spurs legend Ralph Coates, who had a comb over similar to my granddad. You know, met him a couple of years ago, actually. Nice bloke. So then we progressed on into the 5th round, where we met Swansea. There's not much to say about this one. A regulation 2-0 win. I went to this one as well. Can't remember much about it. I assume you went, Nigel. You got any comments on this one?
Yeah, I believe England played Wales that day in the rugby. And,
right.
My season ticket was West Upper. And there was a lot of Swansea fans in the East Upper for some reason. And there'd been a group as well on the roofs of the flats. But I remember they were celebrating the Welsh rugby win.
Yeah.
But they celebrated too early because I believe England got a late try and won the game. But this, yeah, but you know, it's funny the thing. So I think Paul Allen, the David's cross scored. But my abiding memory is of the skinhead Welsh fans sort of jumping up and down a bit in celebrating, and then it turned out that England had got a late try.
You know, funny enough, the Welsh have always been. I know a few lovely Welsh people, good friends, right? But around football, I once went to a Leighton Orient playoff game against Wrexham down at Brisbane Road.
That was the final. I was there.
Yeah, exactly. And what happened after that is, I think, you know, rumor has it, the ICF locked him in the park outside the back of Brisbane.
It nearly went off in the ground.
Yeah, I know.
Played for Wrexham that day. Yeah, I mean,
you see him come climbing over the fence with their wall paint on and everything.
It was funny you saying that. I do because I used to go Orient as well. I think it was the dumb thing. You know, I actually, as a little kid, I started at Orient before West Ham. My mum wouldn't let me go West Ham. My uncle weren't around at the time, and there was too much violence. I was like 5, 6, and a bloke she worked with went Orient, so he took me. Yeah. At the time, but that Nigel Gray scored West Ham's. It was the player that scored West Ham's goal. That's the own goal.
Yeah.
And obviously Mervyn Day and Tommy Taylor, ex-Hammers, played for Orient that day as well.
Oh, right, okay. I didn't realise that. I didn't realise
3 ex-Hammers in the team.
But then again, you would know that. So look, next shit got real. You know, next up for the quarterfinals. It was kind of a retirement home. If you think about it, it was a kind of retirement home for West Ham players back then, wasn't it? We always, you know, because we only ran the corner. I suppose it was easy from. So next up in the quarterfinals, this is where stuff got real, and we started to really believe. We faced our second Division 1 opponents in the high-flying Aston Villa. Now, look, they would go on to win the league the following year and then the European Cup the year after. This was a proper team. We were stood in our usual place at the front of the West Lower, down the South Bank end, around level with the 18-yard box. Huge crowd of 36,000 inside Upton Park, which was bloody big back then. And the Lower West, which is where we stood, was rammed. The sides were level at 0-0 going into, you know, last couple of minutes when Villa conceded a very, very sloppy penalty. Shocking handball. Where I was standing, you could see the whites of Jimmy Rimmer's eyes in the Villa goal as Ray Stewart drew back. You know, Jimmy Rimmer knew what was coming. He knew what was coming. Up step Ray Stewart, regulation penalty, slammed it home in a buoyant Upton Park. At this point, the crowd surged forward, and we were getting a little bit crushed. You know, we were plucked out. There was me, my cousin Paul, Aaron, you know, who go with us to football and stuff like that. We were all about 10, and we were just plucked out from the front row, and we were put on the track around the pitch. And so we watched the last couple of minutes of this game from there. It was a good vantage point. But then, you know, when the final whistle went, it was just absolute, you know, carnage in there. And so they told us we couldn't go back into the crowd. Unfortunately, we had to leave down the players' tunnel. So we're thinking, oh no, we have to leave down the players' tunnel. That's terrible. But I can remember it. I swear I can remember it in my mind's eye, going down the players' tunnel. And you can tell me if I'm wrong or right, Nigel. As you got to the end of the players' tunnel in the old West Stand, you'd look to the right, and that's West Ham dressing room.
That's right.
And I just saw the door closing, and I saw the number 10. I saw Trevor Brooking, who was my only idol. That's the only player I've ever hero worshipped, is Trevor Brooking. I've loved a lot of players, but he's the only one I've ever idolised, you know? And that was just magical for me. And then my dad said, you nearly got crushed. You're never going to football again. He didn't keep. You know what he was like. You know what he was like, Nick. So look, from there, things were going very well, and we genuinely started to believe. We moved on with 4 teams left in the competition. Right, Arsenal, who were the FA Cup holders, the reigning league champions Liverpool, title challengers Everton, and little old West Ham. I remember seeing the Everton reaction. This was a reaction from the Everton team on the 6 o'clock news. They clearly thought they'd breezed past us, right? The Everton squad were in like their squad formation. And when the draw was read out, they burst out laughing and started celebrating. And even at 10, that really pissed me off. Anyway, onto it. We drew them in the other semi-final. Arsenal faced Liverpool. Huge slugfest, played over 4 games, 3 replays, no penalties, 3 replays. Arsenal won 1-0 at the 4th time of asking. We met Everton at Villa Park in April 1988, a full-blooded encounter. Brian Kidd scored a penalty just before half-time, and a ridiculously soft decision, actually, accusing Devonshire of a push. We pulled forward second half as the tensions rose. Ray Stewart knocked a player out cold with a shot. And then Brian Kidd went from hero to zero, got himself sent off for fighting with Ray Stewart. Then a beautiful shot, a beautiful move, saw Devo play a ball, such an accurate ball with the outside of his foot down the line. Brooking never had to break his stride, ran onto it, centred it for Stuart Pearson, who slid in for the equaliser. So then we went on to Ellen Road for the replay 4 days later. And this time we took the lead due to a beautiful, brilliant solo goal, reoccurring theme this, Alan Devonshire. He played a 1-2 on the edge of the box, and as the tackles came flying in, tried to take his legs away, he hurdled them all and slid it through the keeper, under the keeper. Bob Latchford equalised, sadly, just before, in the second half, I think it was, and the game went into extra time. Right at the end, Brooking delivered a delicious ball into David Cross, who had the presence of mind, awareness to cushion the header down to Frank Lampard. And then, as we all know, as the ball came over and Frank fell over and scored the fucking winning goal. And then we're off to Wembley. So Wembley, look,
very good.
Wembley was this was a dream for me. I'm sure it was the same for you, Nigel, as well. This was, Wembley FA Cup final was so huge back then. It was so huge. It was so big. And I just couldn't believe we were doing it. I'd watched the previous 2 cup finals, 3 cup finals. We saw the year before, Alan Sunderland nicking it at the last minute against Man United for Arsenal. It was just everyone watched the FA Cup final because it was one of only, I think, well, other than the odd England International, it's the only game that was televised live every year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was the only game legally allowed to be shown on TV at 3 o'clock on a Saturday.
Yeah. No, listen, it was absolutely an amazing experience. And then, so let's talk about the day itself. So look, May the 10th, 1980, it would live with me forever. We didn't go because, like I said, my dad banned me from going. Not that we would have got a ticket anyway because we were poor. But I watched every bit of the special match day coverage that they had in those days. And it used to start about 10 o'clock in the morning with like quiz shows and stuff. And everything was FA Cup themed. Every programme that was on from the morning till the game was FA Cup themed. And about 1 o'clock, the cameras used to follow the team buses from their hotel to Wembley. And you used to see the players come out to inspect the pitch and all that. It was magical to be a part of that. To have my West Ham being a part of that. Our opponents, Arsenal, they'd also reached the European Cup Winners' Cup final to be played at the Heysel Stadium 4 days later. They'd played 70 games that season and went on to finish 4th in the league. These were no mugs. It was a lovely, warm afternoon. Nick was dressed up in his West Ham baby grow, knitted hat and gloves. We were crowded around the telly in Varden Street. Abide with me rang out. Yeah, I know. Abide with me rang out, and it was game on. And when Trev stooped to score, it just felt like destiny. We were solid. We were brilliant. And late in the game, as young Paul Allen broke free, heading towards a goal one-on-one with Pat Jennings, Jesse Willie Young was allowed to sieve him down because the professional foul rule had not yet been invented. I hid in the downstairs toilet for the last few minutes, waiting for the final whistle. When it finally happened, Wembley erupted. And that sense of pride, it's never really left me. I loved that day. I loved every bit of that day. I do remember it as if it was yesterday. And you don't have many childhood memories like that, I find. I know I wasn't at Wembley, but I felt like I'd been there. It was magical. So there it was, a lowly second division side had beaten West Brom, Aston Villa, Everton and Arsenal, including 2 replays, so 6 games against top Division 1 opposition. I doubt there's ever been such a deserving cup-winning team as that one. My final slide on this, this has been death by PowerPoint. But let's end on a high. As a bonus, the following season, Football 81, we all collected Panini stickers back then. It had a whole section on the Cockney Cup final. And I loved that. I loved that because we were Division 2 side. So we were like, they used to do those stickers, Nigel, where you had 2 heads on one sticker.
Yeah.
And
So the Division 2 teams obviously were not afforded one player, one sticker.
That's right.
It was, just a couple of, that was it. Yeah.
But we had special treatment that year. Not only did we have that section, we had a whole page, as you can see in this slide here, the whole page dedicated to West Ham, including a 4-part team picture sticker, which I collected. I just loved it. That season, West Ham reached the League Cup final, took Liverpool, the great Liverpool, the league champions, to a replay. We won Division 2 with a record points total and got to the quarterfinals of the European Cup, losing to the drug-addled Dynamo Tbilisi. They were just far too quick. There's no way they were drug-addicted, but they went on to win it anyway. What a great side, a fantastic side. On the home front, Nick was with us now, and we finally moved out of our overcrowded, fire-damaged masonette in Stepney. The council had given us a nice new townhouse in Mile End, 28 Eric Street, best house we ever had. Things were finally looking up. And that is the end of my 1980 story.
That's superb, Gal.
Wow.
Really good.
Well done, Gal. Very emotive.
Very good. Very good. Blimey. Yeah.
What do you think of that day now, looking back at it and used to, especially because me and Nick was only we were babies then, weren't we? So
it was magic. It was just magical. I still feel the same now as I did then, pretty much. I
loved
it.
Yeah, the thing about it was tickets for the final were done by ballot then. So even though we were season ticket holders, I didn't get a ticket.
Right.
Bit gutted, to be fair. I think I did cry when I was told that we wouldn't be going. But hey ho, I can tell you that I was in the boys' brigade, and that night we had our end of year display in the church, and one of the blokes had been to, a couple of them had been to the final, and they came in. It was a glorious sunny day, as the pictures will tell you. My mum took me to the Abbey Arms to get me trousers for school. In the Outfitters JJ's, which is still there next to the Abbey Arms pub. And then we came back, and like you had Question of Sports Special FA Cup.
Yeah.
They had cameras at the hotel. They had cameras on the coach, and you lapped up the build up to the game. It's funny listening to you, Gal, because like you, I'd been watching the FA Cup finals. My first one was 75. Didn't see 76, but then from 77 onwards, Man United beating Liverpool. 78 Ipswich beating Arsenal. As you say, I think you summed up the great thing about Arsenal there. They'd been through 4 rounds of the semi-final. I think they were burnt out. This is not to undo what we've done.
Yeah.
But I think they were burnt out. And also they did have the European Cup Winners' Cup final 4 days later, Valencia, which, funny enough, they lost.
They did. They lost the penalties.
Yeah,
the thing about that Arsenal side, right, is if they took the lead, you generally weren't beating them.
Yeah.
Well, if they went one behind, then they had trouble pulling it back.
Show you how real sad I am. They actually knocked out Juventus in the semi-final. I believe it was Valencia, was it? But Mario Kempes was in the Valencia team, Argentinian World Cup winner.
That
that was a top Arsenal team. And we done, Parks pulled off a couple of good saves, but they didn't really get behind us. The thing about the Willie Young tackle, apart from the death threats he always claims he got afterwards, which was natural for a player that did anything against West Ham back in the day, was the automatic red card stems from that tackle for a professional foul.
And I'll give him one bit of credit,
Right.
Willie Young. I'll give him one bit of credit. It was filth, but he didn't try and hurt Paul Allen.
No, and he put his hands up. He knew what he did. It's I'm sure John. It's called taking one for the team.
Take one
I'm
for
sure
the
as a
team,
defender
mate.
yourself, son.
You
had a few going through.
You got to take. I think like what you guys mentioned there was what I remember as well. Obviously later on, because I'm younger than you, a lot younger than you two. Was the build up? The build up used to start on breakfast television, didn't it? It used to start in the morning.
Yeah. And I do remember that. I do remember that.
Didn't you?
Vividly.
And like you said, Gal, cameras on the team coaches, cameras with the fans and all that. And they say that the magic of the FA Cup's been lost, but I think because they don't show it like they used to, like our kids don't see it as we did because, me and Nick are only 41, 42, and our kids don't see the build-up that we used to get, and it was just in your veins because it was just. I'm not saying it was force-fed to you, but it was there every minute of the day throughout the whole.
Would you put it on? Would you put it on par? Do you know with all the furore that you get around Champions League and all that sort of stuff? I would say it was even built up more than that because you actually had a day full of it, didn't you?
It was bigger. It was
bigger than that. So it was.
Yeah, it was our cup, wasn't it? It was the cup of this country, the oldest cup. It had all the traditions and all the Saturday morning. There you go. He's got the program there for the final
program.
It was shown live in about 150 countries or something. This thing was the biggest global football occasion on earth, the FA Cup final.
Yeah.
They don't do it now, do they? They don't build it up that way. And it's been like for a number of years.
They don't, but we'll talk about 2006 later. And I've got to be honest, when I went to the 2006 with Nick, me and Nick went, when I went to that and I was standing there and I heard Abide With Me and things like that, honestly, it just
great. It was a great day.
Brought everything back to me.
Quickly, I'll say you were right.
On a whistle.
Because I'd say a lot of people, I'll never forget 2006 because it made me 10 years old again.
Yeah, exactly that.
Oh, really? So you felt the same way?
Yeah. One little bit of memorabilia.
I've never had a day at football, a buzz like what I had that day, though.
Yeah,
it was unbelievable.
This is they do a thing called first day covers. So this is a first day cover, I believe they do, and this is autographed by all 11 players.
That's amazing.
That played in the game. I mean,
bloody hell.
I've got loads of things here. 2010 for the 30th anniversary, West Ham did a members pack.
Yeah.
So I picked this up in a junk shop, which has got a DVD of the game. Obviously, we don't have a lot to celebrate, people, because believe it or not, they repeated it this year for the 40th anniversary. I've got two of these. One I bought in a junk shop. One was bought for me, and they give you a hat, a copy of the program, a little crappy medal. But but for me, actually, the special bit is the box.
Nice.
It ain't for the hat's not bad. I'll give you. I've got two of these. 'Cause I'm that sad. One because I've opened it, and the other one is unopened.
Yeah.
Lastly, also,
excuse me.
We got the. It might be easy because it's stuck to the wall. I don't know if you can see that.
The FA Cup winners' anniversary.
Yeah, the 30th anniversary Trevor Brookings shirt.
Right.
That's been autographed. Yeah. So
superb.
Like I said, I love Trev.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing is for me, and probably Nick to some degree, until. From when I was very young, all I remember hearing from my older brother, who's 10 years older than me, same age as you two, he used to speak about the 80 Cup final all the time. And as much as I loved hearing the history, I was jealous. I was envious. You know,
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
Like,
He probably had the
what I
same
mean.
experience as me and Nigel, right?
I'll be honest with you. I'm
Experience.
almost partially irritated by the story because I can't remember it, and I was born. But
No, I know what you mean. Yeah.
do you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah,
I feel envious that I don't have that memory. I mean, that was brilliant storytelling, Gal. That was, you know, I kind of that was superb.
Well,
I mean, that's
I
why
love,
we. That's. I mean,
I love
that's
talking
why we
about
got.
it. I love talking
Yeah,
about
and
it.
you can tell. You can tell.
Yeah.
But that's
See
why
what
we
I
got
love,
Nigel on here, isn't it? Because Nigel was at the 1923
Yeah.
Cup final.
Yeah.
Serious. It's not the PowerPoint. The bit I loved, because I'd never have thought about that, is how you highlighted where the teams were. 'Cause I must
year
admit,
before.
I
The
wouldn't
year
have known.
before.
You know, the year before and whatever. Swansea.
Yeah.
You know, just look out. I don't know if it's a thing, but they're actually making a documentary about John Toshak and Swansea. A film's going to be called Tosh coming out, and I've been told that there's a bit about West Ham because I think they still aggrieved losing losing that 5th round tie. So look out for that coming this year or next year. Film about John Toshak.
Yeah,
because we had some great battles with Swansea.
Yeah.
Around that time, and obviously I think they came up with us.
They did come up with us, and then they went straight to the top of the league, if you remember.
Yeah, and then went straight back down all the way to the 4th division.
Nice couple of weeks, though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Jones says it was bigger than a royal wedding. We all made a day of it.
Oh, I don't know. Come on, look, you boys, you know, it's more probably for Gary than Nick. Street party.
Yeah.
No, we had a street party in '75. We'd just moved into the road in Canning Town where I live, Tinto Road, and in '75. So it was a bit new to me. But I can tell you in '75 that Doctor Who faced the Cybermen that night.
Nice.
Strange things you remember.
That's all, isn't it? Yeah, stuck in your head, yeah.
I went indoors to watch Doctor Who and the Cybermen come on, and I think I was a bit scared, so I went back outside. But I was 5, yeah. So the street party, 1980, I was one of the only people in the street to decorate the house.
Yeah.
A lot of the neighbours, it was only a small road. They all knew me. They knew I was Mad West Ham. They knew I went. Funny enough, I think Glenn Murphy from London Burning, I think he was living across the road.
Yeah.
He lived across the road to me.
Yeah.
I remember him as well, yeah.
So I'm pretty sure in 1980 he was there or around that time. But the street party after was fantastic. And of course, we got to bring the cup home, you know, a 2-minute walk from our doorstep, which I wasn't allowed to go to because it was my brother's birthday.
Oh, you're joking.
And not only that, is my mum wouldn't wait for us to see the cup being brought down the Barking Road because my nan lived in Dartford. We had to get through the Blackwall Tunnel.
Yeah.
So we actually left early. And I always remember my body memory of the 11th of May, despite it being my brother's birthdays, seeing the West Ham fans standing by waiting for the coach while we're driving down it to go to the Blackwall Tunnel to get to Dartford.
Right.
And when I see them, you know, the videos and the films and the photographs of the support at 1980, what I can tell you is that Kramer versus Kramer was the film showing at the Odeon, the bowling.
Yeah.
So,
right. It's not Nigel. You know that picture you sent with you in the FA Cup. Can I put that up?
You can put that up because yes, there's one you're not allowed to put up. Yes, that's me. There you go.
Oh,
there we go.
Barney.
I'd have loved to have done that. I'd have loved to have done that.
For those that don't know, that's me on the left.
Yeah.
You ain't changed.
My brother, that's my brother on the right. Obviously, I was the one that got the food. That was taken in the supporters club. In the hall downstairs. Yeah.
I would have loved to have done that. I would have loved to have done that. Yeah.
Yeah.
My cousin
you had to come around here and do it.
My cousin was an Arsenal supporter, and you know they won it the year before. And I remember going around their house, and he had a picture with a cup. I wanted a picture with a cup as well, like you got. I never got it. Yeah.
Oh well, yeah. That was we had to queue for about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
You know, that was the staple everybody had their photo done around the FA Cup.
Gary didn't. Gary.
No, I didn't because we were poor.
Gal, you can come round my shed. We'll get the cup out.
Let's recreate the photo that I should have had.
I've got the Claret and Blue ribbons on it, mate.
No, let's do it like it should have happened. Let's do it. Right, so we're going to move on to 1991.
Yes,
We are indeed.
I will be back. I'll tell you what. I'm not ignoring you, John, but I must go,
Yeah.
Lou. I'll be
Yeah,
back
of course,
in a couple
mate.
of seconds.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
John,
no worries.
John, are you going to be all right to drive your slides? Do you know where they are?
Yeah, mate, I've seen them. Don't worry. I know what I'm doing. I'm not a stupid taxi driver. I'm a smart one. Right, so for me, like obviously, as I said, I grew up in the shadow of 80. Right, my brother would always go on about it, and there's a bit of a 10-year gap between us. So for me, going West Ham was good enough. But when I was younger, a little bit like what you said there, Nigel, my mum didn't like me going too much, and she used to make my brother take me the odd game. So from about the age of 7, I used to go maybe 4 or 5 games a season if I was lucky. And, I remember things like, I remember Liam Brady's last goal was there for that game, things like that, silly little things. And it wasn't until this season that I'm going to talk about that I was allowed to go every game. And I went every game, literally everything. I lived and breathed it. And it was the 1990-91 season. And it's very easy to say you support a club, but I think I spoke to you about it the other day, Nigel. There's always a team or a player maybe or a season where your love for the club is sort of set in stone. And for me, this was the season. And it coincided with the fact that I was allowed to go to so many games. And coincidentally, even though we was in Division 2, or the Championship as it's known now, we had a fantastic cup run. We was quite unfashionable at that time. A lot of my family was Arsenal. Majority of my family are Arsenal fans. So as a young kid, 8, 9, 10, 11, used to get a lot of stick, used to take it to heart, So for me, this season coincided with one of our best FA Cup runs, although we know the outcome. Yeah. The players we had in that team, we had a lot of youngsters, we had a lot of players near the end of their career, and we had a lot of players who had a point to prove. A little bit like the team now that Moyes has got, players with things to prove. Heroes included Morley, Bishop, Paris, people like that for me. And the season, was going very well. And then the FA Cup come along. And like you said, I used to watch the FA Cup every Saturday. It was on the final from the minute it started till the end of the play of the game. So for me, the FA Cup, really, the team, coincidentally, the FA Cup and the team took me by the scruff of the neck this season. As I said, we was in Division 2, we was having a good season, and the FA Cup run began. Now, coincidentally, I was able to go to every FA Cup game because we played at home in every round of the FA Cup, although officially in our first game, we were drawn away to Aldershot. And I think Aldershot were going through financial difficulty. I don't know if you remember. Is that the reason it got switched to Upton Park? So the first game, even though we was at home, we was away. It was treated as Aldershot's home game, and we ended up scraping a 0-0 draw. So, it wasn't a fantastic start. I thought, how have we drawn 0-0 against this lot, And then the replay came up. It was a cold winter's night. The replay came up, and all of a sudden, we sprung into life with a 6-1 win, 6-1 demolition of the mighty Aldershot. Trevor Morley scored 2, Slater, Paris, Bishop, and the best-looking man in football, Jimmy Quinn, popped up with one as well. I get Nick's been saying to me all week, don't cry, but he knows what I'm like. When I talk about it, I get quite emotional because it was like, me and my mate Barry Murphy, we was 10, 11 years of age. My mum would let me pretty much, she'd turn a blind eye, but we'd go down to the stadium. Remember the days you could go and queue for tickets in the morning? And I'd turn up for school late so many times. And, my mum knew what was going on. My dad probably not so much because he wasn't into football, But we won. We won that game 6-1. I remember, fantastic, we're in the next round of the FA Cup. And then we got drawn against Luton away. I couldn't go to that one. But we nicked a draw there, 1-1, George Paris. And when I remember when we got the draw, because I think the season before Luton, we hadn't played particularly well against Luton, if I remember. There was a bit of a bit of an anomaly for us playing Luton.
That
Remember
was
that,
when-
Nigel?
was that the semi-final of the League Cup
89.
where
Yeah,
Scott
89.
Oakes,
Yeah.
where Potsy stood on the ball and Scott Oakes went through and scored?
No, that was 93.
No, that was later.
Oh, was that later? Oh, right.
89 was it? Who was it, Nigel? Go on, remind me.
League Cup semi-final. We lost 3 in the first leg. We lost 3-1. McNightmare in goal, and then we lost again the same on the plastic, 2 or 3.
Yeah.
We used to have a nightmare on plastics. I remember.
Always screwed us. Always
Yeah,
screwed us.
we used to refer to it as drastic plastic or something like that.
Yeah.
But so when we got the draw, I remember thinking, oh, we're not, when we got the draw to play Luton away, I thought, oh, it's not going to end well.
Yeah.
Based on the season previous, but we managed to nick a draw, as I said. George Paris got the equaliser.
Took no shit.
Huh?
He took no shit, that Georgie Paris.
I love George Paris.
Yeah. We met him. Do you remember we met him the other year?
Yeah.
That after dinner speak thing, whatever it was, in that pub. That was brilliant, that was.
It was.
So then we got the replay at Upton Park, and I remember going and thinking, right, we can turn them over here. And little did I know, we'd win 5-0, and Paris again scored the opening goal from the edge of the box. Bishop scored. I can't remember who else scored now, but I know. Oh, McAvenny scored, and I think Morley got another 2. We had an era then of players like Bishop, Paris, Morley, McAvenny. They was a little bit like, they had long hair. They was a little bit mavericky, weren't they? There was a little bit like, they was like sort of Guns N' Roses type players. They had a bit of something about them. And I remember, Nigel, you said you had long hair at that time, didn't you?
Yes. Yeah.
Got any pictures? Got any pictures?
None that I've published. But yeah, I had Morley-esque hair. Yes, I did. My mate Bishop.
What was the story you told me about at the services?
Well, we'll do that at the semi-final because that was at the semi-final.
We'll do that at the semi-final. Right, so we beat Luton, and then we got drawn at home again to the 4th Division mighty team called Crewe Alexandra. And we was all rubbing our hands thinking, this is going to be a piece of, you know what? Yeah. And it was a bit of a struggle, really. It was a bit of a poor game, I remember. I remember McCloskey. That was a great season as well, because that's the season McCloskey came to the club, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Year after.
It was. Was it
his first full season?
It was his first full season. Yeah, sorry. That's when he sort of came into his own, and even against Crewe Alexandra, I remember him because I used to stand in the North Bank, but I used to stand right by sort of like some wire meshing, and I used to have a really good view from where he was, and he was just a giant of a man. I mean, I remember Phil Parkes before him, but Ludo had something different with him. Do you know what I mean? I'm saying he was a bit European, I suppose, if you like.
Do you remember?
What was your dog's name, John? What was your dog's name?
Yeah, I named my dog Ludo after him as well. Yeah.
Do you remember when he first joined, how high and how long he used to kick the ball?
Yeah.
He used to come down with snow on it, didn't it?
Yeah, we couldn't pronounce his name.
We knew he was from near Moscow.
Yeah. Signed by Macari, who never got to see him play.
Macari signed a lot of good players, funny enough.
He did.
Who else did he sign? I know he signed Jimmy Quinn, but he didn't really play him, did he?
He did. He played him a lot. Well, no, but you got to think Macari was only at the club for 9 months. He signed McCloskey, Jimmy Quinn. He swapped Bishop and Morley for Mark Ward. I mean, his lesser sign, he signed Martin Allen, who had fallen out with Trevor Francis at QPR. Yeah. And the other signing he made, his lesser signing, but I thought was a great servant for the club, was Colin Foster.
Yeah, good player.
I'll get on to him in a minute. No, I mean, Colin Foster was, he epitomised being a great centre half as I was.
You Craig Dawson of the day, I think.
He was a little bit, yeah. But then
you
could say you don't want a Colin Foster in these day and age, I suppose. But
no.
I love them sort of players. But, that whole, and we was going well in the league. So we got drawn at home to Crewe. We struggled to break them down. Jimmy Quinn come on as a sub, I think. I think in them days, it was 2 subs, wasn't it? Was that right?
I think that was the start of it, yeah.
Yeah, you only had 2 subs then, yeah. I remember Jimmy Quinn came on and scored. Someone played a long ball through to him. I think Kevin Key might have got it, and he played it into Quinn. Quinn scored, and we snuck through 1-0 against Crewe. And then all of a sudden, we're in the quarterfinals. Yeah. And sort of like my Arsenal family started taking a little bit of an interest in, this little team, West, we was only young kids, so they used to mock me and, West Ham are doing all right. You got to the quarterfinal, you cheeky chappies and all that, And I just remember thinking we could get a good draw, and we got drawn against Everton. and it was a night game. And I think it was on television, but obviously I was at the game.
It was a Monday night.
It was a Monday night, that was it. And it was like the atmosphere was electric. And at the age of 11, or near enough 12 that I would have been, that was probably one of the best atmospheres that I'd experienced, you know. A big Premier League team coming down. They had players like they had Cotty then, didn't they? They had Cotty, they had Neville Southall, Kevin Ratcliffe, all those sort of types.
Martin Keown,
who got rinsed though, didn't he, by Slater a little bit. We'll go into that in a minute. And I was just like, wow, man, this is a big team coming down here, and the atmosphere was electric, and it was that whole smell coming out up. I have to travel from Mile End on my own to Upton Park. It ain't far, but when you're 11, it's a big deal getting on a train at Mile End, coming out of Green Street, the smells, the noises, all of that. I loved it all, And I just remember walking down there thinking, wow, we're on telly, let's hope we put in a good performance. My mates, my family can see it. And lo and behold, we was absolutely fantastic that night, I felt. We sort of rose to the occasion with players that were not household names outside of Upton Park, with players that maybe McAvenny, to take away from that, but he was in and out a lot of the team, I think, in and out of the team a lot then. But it was just an amazing night, In a way, it sort of superseded anything I'd had before as a West Ham fan, and like the emotion. I remember the emotion getting to me, and it was just like the best feeling at that stage that I'd personally had as a West Ham fan that I could totally honestly remember. I'd heard stories of 80. I sort of remembered 86, but not in the detail that maybe 6-7-year-old would do now, without social media and all the other stuff to reminisce. But honestly, that was a fantastic game in itself. And I just loved the whole run because I was able to find out when tickets were going on sale. I could go down to the West Ham club shop, have a little mooch around up the wooden ramp with all the squeaky floorboards, have a look around all the old women behind the counter serving you and whoever was working there. And then you queue up, join up for your ticket. It was just, I know it sounds really cheesy, but it was like, I wish they still had that sort of thing there. But
I know.
It's all done on point system. I know that, but I struggled with that.
I'll tell you one thing about that every game while we're doing it. So I bought two. I was just courting my wife then, or we'd been courting for 2 years. So I started taking her to West Ham games, and
you are romantic, you.
Yeah, I know. She wanted to go out with me. She got to go West Ham.
Yeah.
So obviously she's only like 4'11" and a half. She ain't going to stand up. So I knew the ticket touts that worked West Ham very well. So I had to get 2 tickets discounted off the tout. So it did me a deal. But then what happened is that another tout came up and offered to double my money because tickets were going for big money on the street. And I went, no, I ain't selling. He said, but I'll double your money, what you just paid, because he knew what I paid for them. And I went, no, I don't care. And it was on telly, because I remember, like, she said, selling the tickets would go down, and, she only lived in Plaistow, we'll go and watch it on the telly. Yeah. And I looked at her, I went, well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll sell your ticket. I'll keep mine. I'll get all my money back. You go home and watch it on the telly. And it was like, no, I ain't doing that. I said, right, we go in then. Bless her, she still married me. There was a bit of me that thought I could have got all my money and got him for nothing. But it just showed you, I think the tickets back then were about 15 quid.
What, for the ticket for the Everton game?
So £7, £8. So this is the ticket from £6 FA Cup against Norwich in '89. I paid that was £8, that ticket. Yeah. So 1990. I might even have the ticket from that day. That's 1990. So yeah, so there was 7-8 quid. I think I paid 25 quid for the 2.
Yeah.
It's not a bad deal.
Yeah, that's what. Well, it did me a deal. I sort of said, and then another tout had seen come up and offered me to double my money.
So you bought a burger on a program as well, Nigel. I mean, that's an expensive night out, isn't it?
Well, I was a locksmith back then, mate, and it was all cash. We got paid in.
Cash in hand, tax free.
I mean, that was the game. That was the game that sort of put West Ham back on the map a little bit for me. I know it might sound dramatic to you two because you've experienced a lot more than me, but
I remember it
me,
well, John.
No, I love that team and I love that season.
I love the season. I love the squad, and obviously it coincided with me being allowed to go football on my own with my mate. You know, so it had a lot of emotion there and a lot of firsts, if you like. And it was Billy Bond's first full season in charge.
Same as Claire, look.
Yeah.
Since she started going to Upton Park.
I was taken to a game by an ex, not Nigel, was it?
No,
I think that's where I was. I think I was in the North. I think I was in the North Bank, and that's where I used to go. That was where I always went. Was the North Bank. I love the North Bank. Yeah.
Everton had beat Liverpool in the previous after a 4-4 draw, I believe. Beat them
when Cotty scored.
Cotty scored. I think he came off the bench, and of course it led to Kenny Dalglish quitting.
Yeah.
But so I mean, that Everton game. God, what a
mate! The atmosphere. I just remember, like, as an 11-year-old, you can be taken in very quickly. But you know, I've been to a lot of games. As I say, seasons before, I've been in and out of the stadium, not as much as I'd probably like to have been. But that game to me was just electric. It was the first time at Upton Park when I felt the whole stadium rocking.
Sorry, 1 minute. Hang on, 1 minute.
Sometimes the old format.
Who's bottom left? That's Kevin Keane, isn't it?
Kevin Keane.
Yeah, Kevin Keane. Yeah. Sorry.
Sometimes with the old stadium and the way it was, because that was the original West South, the original stadiums as we knew it, and the original stands as we knew it. Sometimes if you got if it was the right game and it was under the lights, you got the most electric atmosphere inside that place, and that was one of them. That was one of them, and it's kind of, it was nothing. How can I say? I won't say it's nothing out of the ordinary, because there seemed to be a lot of games like that back then, where we had those special nights under the lights, and that's where I think that sort of reputation come from. Of I
think the ground back then only held 30,000.
Yeah. It seemed like a lot more though, didn't it?
Yeah.
I remember as a kid when I went into the North Bank. The North Bank to me looked absolutely huge. You know, the steps at the back were like, Jesus, I'll never go up there. Like, you know what I mean? To a young 10, 11-year-old kid, that stand was humongous. So, I mean, obviously...
but you know what they used to do, right? It might have been a 30,000 official capacity, but I remember sometimes I went to midweek game to Liverpool once, right? And I was trying to climb up the back steps, and you literally couldn't get into the North Bank. There was people, there was bodies piled up, queued down the stairs. You could not get in. So the turnstiles, they've been doing the 2-for-1 deal, haven't they?
Yeah, but that was I had a game like that. Fun enough, Chelsea in '86, where it was difficult to move in the North Bank.
Yeah,
to the point that when we played Ipswich in '86, I then used my ticket friends to get me a seat on the lower west by the tunnel, so I could pile on the pitch at the end of the game, because I didn't want to. Even to this day, I'm not a great lover. I love. We know
you don't like people running on the pitch, Nige.
Yeah. And no, needs must. Believe me. Funny enough, '93, I was on the pitch when Dixie tapped in that goal. David Speedy, was it? Or Clive Allen? Clive Allen tapped in.
Who was that again? Southampton.
Cambridge.
Cambridge. The other end. Yeah. Sorry.
Cambridge, when we got promoted in '93. Believe me. Yeah.
I do think though, John, what I said earlier, I think that saying about, bring back to Upton Park under the lights, the atmosphere and everything else, I think that was born in that era. Yeah,
mate, maybe it was, mate. I just remember a lot of games, like for me, they used to, maybe because you was in Division 2 as it was when I started going proper that season, but we seem to have a lot of games in the night, a lot of night games. You had like, what was it called then? Rumbelows Cup, probably. Maybe not that season after. You had the Zenith Data Cup was around that sort of era. The Anglo-Italian Cup was around that sort of era. So there was loads of night games to be had. And I used to love nothing more than getting home from school, getting changed, and pretty much leaving within the hour just to get up there early doors, jumping on the train and things like that, up to Upton Park. So, the Everton game for me was the first time that I'd experienced Upton Park, rocking. And we took the game by the scruff of the neck. I mean, you mentioned Martin Keown, who we know went down as a great defender to some degree. But I remember that night he got torn a new one by Stuart Slater. And I think that put Stuart Slater, that performance on telly, obviously put Stuart Slater in the shop window. Because he was electric that night. And his goal, he scored the second goal, as we know. He was fantastic. He was, a little tiny fella. He didn't look like he had much about him, really, but he was a typical winger, wasn't he? He was little.
He was a brilliant little player, wasn't he?
He was a fantastic little player,
Rapid.
And it was a shame. I think. Well, I know we got promoted at the end of that season in second, but I think we got relegated the next season out of the top division, didn't we? Season before the Premier League, and I think he then went to Celtic, didn't he?
Yeah.
Liam Brady was manager, and Liam Brady had actually been his agent as well.
Right.
Before becoming manager of Celtic. Yeah.
Is that not a conflict of interest?
Well, I think he'd given up being his agent at that time, but he'd definitely been his representative.
What happened to Slater after Celtic? Do we know?
Yes, Ipswich Town, Watford.
It was
and
got a few injuries, didn't he?
I don't know if you can confirm this, Nigel, but he was insisting he was a striker rather than a winger.
Yeah.
And I think he fell out with Bonzi. Bonzi didn't want to play him as a striker. He wanted to play him as a winger. And he ended up getting the move. To me, I loved Stuart Slater. Every time he got the ball, it was sort of electric. The crowd were on their toes and watching him because he had so much pace and he could shred anyone, couldn't he? And that is one of my biggest regrets as a West Ham fan, is not seeing Stuart Slater achieve his full potential, because I think he could have been an England regular and a top player.
I'd say after that Everton game, and this is the thing that really stands out, and he was a big star. He was in the papers, cameras, we're going to cover the semi-final. But I think we played, people might be able to look it up, the stats. I'm pretty sure we played Bristol City next. And he picks the ball up because he's out. He would cut in, wouldn't he, on his right foot to be out left. And he picked the ball up. And whoever the Bristol City right back was, put him into the lower west. Right? And my God, he was like a different player after that. He went into his shell. And I don't know if people realise, where he was quite small, slender, still young, that if you nailed him, he wouldn't be able to hurt you. Or he weren't up for that physical
side
and that's
thing,
and what Gary was saying about
if he kicked him, he went missing.
Yes,
I thought Everington was like that. I thought you give Everington a kick earlier,
like that,
and he used to go missing.
Yeah,
I must admit I hadn't seen that, Nigel. I hadn't seen that, but yeah.
The name that sticks in my mind is a bloke called Brian Tinian. Whether he was just a Bristol City player, but literally
he was Bristol City. Yeah,
it literally we played Bristol City in a game. This was before the semi-final, and and the geezer actually pinged him straight away. It was one of them ones where you get in early, you're not going to be booked. It was like put him on the dirt track in front of the West Stand. He weren't for me. From that, I wasn't disappointed when he left. I know it might seem a bit harsh. I just think he hadn't shown it. He showed such early promise, and he just never did it. But it's hard because the turmoil separately going through the club at that time as well. Perhaps there was stuff on that as well.
Probably so, mate. Probably so. But you can never take away what he did.
No,
mostly that night. I know you're not trying to do that, but I'm just saying. I mean, as we know, he scored the second goal, and I watched it earlier because all I ever remember with Colin Foster's first goal, in my mind, it was a fantastic acrobatic overhead kick. When you watch it, no, but you know what I mean? Because at the time, oh my God, Colin Foster.
It was a volley, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a volley, but it wasn't an acrobatic overhead kick by any stretch of the imagination. But, however, he took it really well. And I remember at the time thinking how good it was. But when you I did look at it again earlier, and the way he caressed it in, he did take it like a striker. And as you said, I liked Colin Foster a lot. I liked the guy. I thought he was a good defender. We had some good defenders then, didn't we? We had like Tony Gow, Alvin Martin. We had a good defence for that division. Like you said, Lou Macari brought him in from Forest, I think, as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, he'd been at Orient, but he'd gone to Forest, and then we brought him in from.
And then we brought him in from Forest. So for him, I suppose getting Forest in the semi-final was a good way of looking at it, or what he would have wanted. But
yeah, I didn't think of that. Yeah.
I mean, I think the ball. I remember the ball got cleared out. Kevin King crossed it in, or George Paris might have crossed it in, dinked it into the edge of the box, dinked it into the centre of the area, and he sort of fell backwards and caressed it into the left of the net. And I just remember the crowd going mental, and we was well on top. You know, I don't think Everton did particularly well that night at all. It was quite a fast-paced game, and as we know, Stuart Slater scored the second. He bamboozled Keown a little bit, who looked a bit clumsy at times. And I remember the goal going in at the end that I was standing, and it was just like euphoria.
He gave Keown a real sorry time, didn't he?
It was that, and then they got a fairly late goal through stalwart Dave Watson scored. And it was squeaky bum time to some degree, but at the final whistle, it was just unbelievable, you know. And the first thing I did was I just remember questioning my brother the whole way home, when's the semi-final tickets going on sale? But you know, he said to me, look, you're not guaranteed to get any tickets here.
Another ballot.
Yeah.
Another ballot.
Well, no, my brother. I was going to say my brother bought them all off touts and things. He paid a lot of money for them.
Yeah. Another ballot.
Another ballot, yeah. So as we know, that put us into the semi-final where we was left with West Ham, obviously, Arsenal and Spurs in that ill-fated, well, not in the ill-fated, but in the Gaza free kick game at Wembley.
Yeah.
There we go, with the kids on the thing. And West Ham Forest. I think the season before, Arsenal and Spurs had finished 3rd and 4th in the Division 1. Forest were like League Cup winners. You know, Brian Clough was like the most talked about manager. Everyone sort of had a bit of respect for him, was in awe of him. And West Ham was off to the semi-final, at Forest at Villa Park. And these were the lineups. If you look at the two teams there, you know, their team was, you know, there wasn't big names, were they really then? I mean, Keane was a young kid. Pierce was
17.
Yeah. Huh? Keane was 17, exactly. But they wasn't, when you look at their team, Nigel Clough made them a good team to play against. But I know you went to school with Gary Charles, didn't you, Nigel? Saying, is that right?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Des Walker was good though, when he was a good defender.
Des Walker was a cut above, but they was like
Pierce.
Yeah.
But the majority of that team weren't world beaters.
Roy Keane.
He had made them a great team, a strong team. You know, they all knew their job, and that was a hard task that we had ahead of us, wasn't it? Let's be honest. What do you think?
Yeah. I get what you're saying about the Forest team there, because if you look at it, you think back to Forest under Cloughy, that's not his strongest team, is it?
That's what I'm trying to say. That's not his. Yeah. They're not all the big international players.
It's a good team.
Still a good team, but he made them a strong, resolute. Well, you know, they knew how to play, and then obviously we've got to play them at Villa Park, and we know what happens. As I said, we lined up with the obvious team here, so we had McCloskey in goal, Foster, Gal, Potts, and Houghton, Paris and Allen, Mad Dog. Huh?
It's a good side, isn't it?
It is a good side. I mean,
it's a good team, isn't it? When you look at that on paper, that is a good team, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. To me, that's one of my favourite West Ham teams. You know, there's a few others that would have been in around the squad or on the bench on the day or injured, like McAvenny and all that lot. They would have been in it at some point. I would have still been as happy. But I love
that central midfield though.
Yeah, that's my West Ham. Like, that is my West Ham, if you know what I mean. That is my team that I.
That sort of sets up the same way we're setting up now.
It does, doesn't it? He was quite forward thinking.
You know, if you look at Paris and Allen, they'd be like, listen, people, before we jump on, I'm not saying they're that good, but obviously that's your Souček and your Rice, isn't it? Yeah. Obviously, to a lesser, you know, Slater's the Lanzini, Keane of Fornals, Bishop of Ben Rama,
Morley. Antonio.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure that Morley had just come back after being stabbed by his wife.
We won't go down
looking at someone the wrong way.
So yeah, I mean, that was the lineup.
We'll leave that there.
We'll leave that there. We don't want to go down that road. No one will ever know the true story.
Yeah.
So as I say, my brother being 10 years older than me, he was a bit of he knew everybody at West Ham. He thought he did anyway, and he managed to get tickets from him, one of his best mates, and me. And we travelled up there. I remember it being quite an early kickoff. We got up there early doors. left early doors. I can't remember now.
It was about, I think it was at 3 o'clock, a regular.
Yeah, I
kickoff.
left early doors. I don't know. I can't remember now.
Yeah, Arsenal
Yeah.
Spurs were at Wembley because that was the Gaza free kick.
Yeah.
They were the early kickoff.
Hmm.
I don't know if, we were definitely the afternoon semi-final. They kicked off early,
Yeah.
12
Okay.
o'clock.
I just remember, maybe it was because I got up so bloody early, but I just remember being ecstatic, looking forward to the day. My brother had a red Talbot Horizon. He drove up there. He wasn't allowed to drink because obviously my mum had given him my
Was that the one that became your Talbot Horizon?
That did become my Talbot Horizon.
Oh,
You remember it?
I remember that. Yeah. I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was in the family for a long time.
Yeah.
So the game, I remember the atmosphere getting there. There was fancy dress, the singing. It was electric. And was you there? Did you get a ticket, Nigel?
Yeah, I was on the Holt end. Drove up in the company van, decked it out with flags, got into work.
Was that?
And
Was
the
that
boss
West
went to
Ham
me.
end?
Yeah, in the Holt end, in the West Ham end.
That's where I was as well then.
And the boss went, "Do you have a good weekend? You go to the game?" Yeah. He went, "I hope you put diesel in the van." And I went, "Sorry." He said, "Yeah." He said, "I got a phone call in the evening saying, fucking your van flew up the M1 past me. He had flags and scarves." He said, "I don't mind you going to the game, but I ain't paying you diesel for it." I was like, "No, don't worry, I'll put my own diesel in."
It was tough.
Written van for you.
It was tough to get a ticket for that game, so I managed to get a ticket. But I was going with a group of people, and they all had tickets down one of the sides, and I was the only one that had a ticket in the end. So it must have been the end I was in.
Yeah, the whole end.
Yeah, well, the whole end was the biggest terracing, I believe. So I think it could hold like 20 odd thousand. So actually, we had half, and they had half.
Yeah, that's what Glenn
and
said.
Then, as we looked at the pitch on the old end, we had the left-hand side stand, which was the old one.
That's right.
Which is since demolished. And then we had behind the goal, lower tier, I believe, up the other end.
Right.
And I just remember it being like, to me, it was like, and I know probably as a West Ham fan, I'm going to say it, but it just felt like we outnumbered them because we were so loud from start to finish. As we know, the game kicked off, and very early on, the obvious, any West Ham fan knows, Tony Gale was a victim of a new sort of change to the law, or maybe a sort of I don't know what the word is. Interpretation. Interpretation of the law. I don't know what you think, Nigel, because you're a bit of a stickler for the rules in terms of if it's a foul, it's a foul. But even to this day, I look at it and I'm like, he's running away from goal, and Bishop's coming around him and things like that.
I mean, I've interviewed Keith Hackett for the podcast. Yeah, I didn't go to interview Keith Hackett. Sean actually went to doorstep Sam Allardyce, but I don't know if the club knew we were going to be there. Right. But there was about 3, and it weren't a West Ham event, but West Ham had security people there and ushered Allardyce out the way very straight away. But Keith Hackett was standing there, so I said to Sean, "Let's go and talk to Keith Hackett," and we recorded the conversation. And I asked him about it, and he did explain that apparently there'd been a new interpretation, or there'd been a thing put out by the FA. But get this, Keith Hackett says that if that game had been played on Saturday,
it would have sent him off.
It would have been a yellow card.
Yeah, and that's what caused such animosity, because it was like literally, I think Tony Gale was the first person sent off under the new interpretation, and us fans weren't aware of it, if you like, or the new change or whatever you want to call it. And it was just like, what on earth's happened here? This moment of what we saw as, I suppose, cheating. We've won, for want of a better phrase. That's what we know what football fans are like. I'm not saying it was cheating, but you know what football fans are like. But we was just in bits, and I remember thinking, oh my God, it's all over now. But I mean, what happened then? Even after that sending off, I mean, we were playing well, even with 10 men. I remember. I mean, we hit the post a couple of times.
Georgie Paris hit the post. Yep.
George Paris hit the post. I think, and then they scored. Crosby, was it Ben Crosby or someone? Ben Crosby's a singer, isn't he? And then I think Stuart Slater hit the post in the second half as well, didn't he?
Yep.
And then after that, they got 2, 3, 4.
It just never should have come to that. That was a Keith Hackett. That was never a sending off. He was the very first person to send a player off for a professional foul for the new rule. He was, in my mind, trying to make a name for himself. He gives a load of excuses now about how he shouldn't do it, but of course he shouldn't have fucking done it. He ruined that game for us. We went all that way to the semi-final, and that fucker ruined the game for us, and we can never get that back. That team, those teams you showed earlier, I commented that lineup looked pretty good. And I personally believe if we'd have been allowed that full lineup that day, we had a chance to beat that Forest side. And he fucking took that away from us.
I agree.
We were mugged.
Tony Gale still sore about that, isn't he?
Yeah, he should be as well. He should be.
Of course he is.
Yeah.
Because, as much as he's going to think, I shouldn't have got sent off, there's also the side of him that thinks, I've let the team down.
Yeah,
because 20 minutes in, he's the man who's been sent off. Whether he agrees with it or not, he feels responsible. In some part, because he's the man who's now put the team down to 10 men. And for me, it sort of it dampened the day to some extent. But you know what? For me, and I know you're going to talk about the other final later, it sort of made my love of West Ham even more. I know it sounds ridiculous, but in the face of adversity, right, it makes you think, you know what? It's like supporting West Ham, as I'm sure other fans will say of other clubs, it is a roller coaster, right? It just sums up life. You're up, you're down, you're da-da-da-da. And that, to me, as disappointing as it was, and I was crying my eyes out. It was the first time I'd cried after a game. I was in pieces. The journey home was terrible. My brother was livid, road rage with everyone.
Yeah.
It was just a couple of days after, when it all settled down a bit, I was proud, and I remember going to school and people in school were going, oh yeah, unlucky West Ham. They weren't being condescending. They was actually being quite, supportive, I suppose is the right word, or quite complimentary, So it was just a shame that it ended in such adverse situation like that. Not the defeat, you can take a defeat, but
you're right. But the
really did ruin it,
The crowd that day with Billy Bonds' Claret and Blue Army, was second to none. I mean, it was magnificent, and it was when it started going wrong, like when Forest got their first goal. It wasn't from it's the way I remember it anyway. It wasn't from the sending off. It was from when it was pretty obvious, because when Forest got one goal, it was obvious how we could get another.
I think it was when we were 2 or 3 down.
Yeah. It wasn't straight away, was it? It wasn't straight away after the sending off, but that was even the great Brian Clough, and I do actually rate, my personal opinion, I think Brian Clough is the best manager ever, based on what he achieved with minimal budget. He, even he afterwards commented on the West Ham crowd, and he weren't one to comment on opposition crowds and stuff like that. But we were simply outstanding that day, and I was proud to be a West Ham fan.
Yeah.
It's weird. I said, it's in my top 3 West Ham games ever.
Yeah, it's my best ever. West Ham
and a
game
4-0, and you've got a 4-0. It ain't about the 4-0 defeat.
No,
it was about being on the whole end. It was about 25-minute version. Gary Charles, I went to school with him. He came West Ham with me. He was a West Ham fan as a kid, and he came West Ham with me. And I knew he'd joined Forest and watch him score against us. But the funny thing is that when you watch the videos, we started getting louder. As he scored the 4th goal, we were already doing Billy Bonds. We got louder. At the end of the game, my abiding memory is there was a bloke dressed like the McDonald's clown or something. It was like a Viking or Captain Caveman. A load of West Ham fans had gone up in fancy dress. They were on the side and they were on the pitch, and they weren't thrown up. And it was funny because it was almost like we were celebrating
defeat,
but it was for me.
It's just pride. It was pride.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was the ultimate
pride
thing where the fans showed what why we are. How many other fans would have done that? I don't know. I don't know. The only thing I'd say is in a way, I sort of accept now what Keith Hackett done. I've learned to forgive him. Believe me, Gal, up until I met the bloke, I was like you.
Yeah.
That's mine. Yeah, for people wondering, that's in my collection. I've kept it. So but whatever. But in a way, when you look at we'd have had Tottenham in the final. Who knows? If we'd have lost to Tottenham in the final, I think the pain would have been worse.
That would have been worse.
I don't
That'd
think
have
the
been-
reaction would have
yeah.
been the same. So
Maybe.
actually, the 4-0 defeat and the way we responded to that, and that it was at Villa Park and everything,
Yeah.
I think in a way, I'd take that to losing the final to Spurs.
Yeah. I think it was a great cup run. Another great cup run as a second division side, and it just finished on. It was a low, but it finished on a high, didn't it?
Yeah.
And I mean that team got promoted to the first division. They could have won. They could have won. Nigel's face.
Should have won.
We should have won it, but we lost on the last game at home to Notts County 2-1. If we would have won it, we would have won the league as well.
Who's Notts County manager?
What?
Who was Notts County's manager?
Go on.
Neil Warnock.
Was he?
Was it?
Yeah.
I mean, he's been around a long time. That Neil Warnock.
They Tommy Johnson, who was a ginger player, he was their star player who went to Derby, Villa.
I remember
everything.
him. Yeah.
And I'd see strange things you see because I took my missus, and she was like, she couldn't believe they were singing it. They had a bald black bloke, and they sang a song. He's got an head like a Malteser. The Notts County fans sung that song about their own player. Now, obviously, this day and age, no one would ever sing that song, but it was fans singing about the bald black bloke had an head like a Malteser. Out of love. I've forgotten what his name. It was funny. He's got an head like a Malteser. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
It was quite funny, but we lost that 2-1. Stay behind as they present the trophy, I think, was the Tannoy man, not realising that Oldham had got a last-minute penalty against Sheffield Wednesday to win 3-2. The rumour then spread that Keith Hackett was refereeing that game, which I do not believe was true, that gave Sheffield Wednesday the last minute, because Keith Hackett is a Sheffield man. And I believe he's a Sheffield United fan as well. But
that bloody Oldham team, that Joe Royal team with that plastic pitch and that League Cup semi-final. I hated Oldham. I really hated Oldham. Who's that little striker used to play for him?
Frankie Ritchie.
Andy Ritchie.
Andy Ritchie.
And that bloke. I hated Andy Ritchie. But anyway, look, let's move on. Thank you, John. That was brilliant. That was really,
I love that. I must admit, that's a fantastic season.
That was brilliant, John. That was superb, mate. Really well done. That was good. I enjoyed that.
I'm gonna very quickly, because look, we all remember it, and everyone's, this is within recent memory. I'm gonna very quickly.
Gary, before you start, I think because of the time, we're going to change the format a little bit. We're going to do the FA Cup quiz directly following this.
All right. Okay. Listen, I'm going to take a couple of minutes to wrap up 2006, right?
Yeah. No. Yeah, that's fine. Go on. I'm just going to put. Yeah.
This is it, because I've got a few short memories of 2006, but look, a cup run, I remember it with pride and a little bit of agony. I went to every game, even the Boarfest away at Bolton. We had such an exciting side that year. We were fresh back in the Premier League. We were beating everybody that we shouldn't have done. And the memories include having to go at a bloke with one arm up at Bolton because he wouldn't let me park in the car park there. Didn't know he had one arm until someone pointed it out to me. And then the lovely day out of Man City, me and you, Nick, drunk in central Manchester. We got a tram out to the stadium. Brilliant. And then next was the semi-final at Middlesbrough, where I went with our dad. That was only the second time I've ever been to a game, just me and my dad. The other one was at Villa Park as well, on Frank McAvenny's first game back. So I just remember, I'm not going to talk about all the previous rounds, but with the, let's bring us all back, was the memories of that semi-final at Middlesbrough when Dino put that ball down and when Marlon Airwood smashed the ball into the back of the net and the ground just shook. It shook. It was amazing. I think Marlon's actually said that himself. He said he couldn't believe, the atmosphere. And it was so disappointing that day because you had like half the Middlesbrough fans there. There was like big gaps in their end, as you couldn't have sold any more tickets if you tried. Yeah, you couldn't have sold any more tickets. They didn't deserve to be there. We deserve to be there because we do cup runs. That is what we do, right? On to the final. Me and Nick drove there. We had a lovely day out in Cardiff, didn't we, Nick?
Superb.
It felt like the time like we were there every year in Cardiff because we were, previous two playoffs, finals, preceding years. going 2-0 up early, we just felt, oh, it's going to be our day, isn't it? It's going to be our day. And Liverpool found a way back to 2-2. And we had to wait for the accurate shot from Paul Konchesky from the right wing, right into the goal, directly in front of us. Definitely a shot. As we all know, Scaloni screwed up. And then Xhaka for me. Nigel from the Goalkeepers Union might disagree, but Xhaka didn't cover himself in glory. But it ended up 3-3. And I remember that goal went in just as the stadium clock had ticked 90 minutes, right? We had one hand on the cup. And to me, that whole day, like Nigel, like you said earlier, that brought back memories of 1980 for me. I was a 10-year-old kid again. I was loving that FA Cup final. All the abide with me, all the bits and pieces that went with it. It was I thought it might have lost a bit of its magic, but it hadn't. But anyway, 3-3 into extra time, just agony, with their keeper making some ridiculous saves, and Marlene almost being crippled out on the wing by Cisse, meaning he was unable to lift his leg to slot home an open goal right in front of us. And then we knew what was going to happen. When it went to penalties, we just knew what was going to happen. Liverpool had recently won the Champions League on penalties. They were a mature side, a seasoned team of experienced professionals. We were a young side. There was only one outcome. There was only one outcome, and it was sickening. Throughout the game, we saw a bloke in front of us with, something like, "This is for you, Dad," on his back. And there was another guy who lost his dad and died, literally had a heart attack in the ground while the thing was going on. This was a very deep and emotional day, And look, we left the ground having lost, feeling kind of proud, but so gutted. To be so close and to have it taken away, it was just cruel. It was cruel. Nick and me drove back home, never said a word to each other the whole way. And I swear, for the first time ever, any game of football ever, I had flashbacks to that game for 2 weeks. It was just traumatic. Yeah. I mean, in hindsight now, I can see it was a great final and how brilliant we'd done to get there and how brilliant we played and everything else. But no one was telling me that on the day. It was a choker, an absolute choker. So, a great cup run. If you look at the cup run, it wasn't such a great cup run. We had a lot of good fortune in that. We got to the final. We did well. If I can find the right slide again, hang on a minute. Let me find the right one. When you look at it, away to Norwich, they were a decent side then. Home to Blackburn, that was really
quickly. I know it's thing. Who was injured for Norwich?
Dean Ashton.
Dean Ashton, yes.
Oh, yeah.
I guess, and then that's funny how we signed him the week later.
Yeah.
And if he wasn't injured, he would have been cup tied, and we wouldn't have been. That's amazing.
Exactly.
That's
the word.
He was never injured. He weren't injured.
Oh.
But then the Bolton game, that was a tough game. We went away, Sam Allardyce's Bolton. I think I'll correct me if I'm wrong, Nigel, but when we beat Bolton 2-1 at home, Sam Allardyce called our fans scum.
Yes, I think Kevin Davies still got their goal. I too. The only game I didn't go to was the Man City game. But the Bolton game, the 0-0, I made the mistake of going on the West Ham coaches. Yeah, believe me, that was a big mistake. To go all that way, but it was good because I took my nephew, and then that enabled my nephew then to get a ticket for the semi-final, which enabled him to get a ticket with me for the final. Because that's how West Ham did it. If you'd been to these games, you could go to that game. The Bolton game, but that was a Monday. Was that a Monday. Tuesday or Wednesday night? I said it was obviously it was the replay. Weren't sure it was a week after. Yeah, so. Bolton were a bogey team of ours back then.
Yeah, they was, and that was
a man whose name I won't mention managing them.
So you remember that away game with a fucking drum and everything else? It was horrible, wasn't it?
The funny thing to remind you is it was the first time I'd seen Chris Akabusi in the away end.
Oh, really?
and he walked in with this like cowboy hat on, a long coat, and it like the thing. And it was like, you do a double take, and you're thinking, who's that fucking idiot? And then you look at him and you think, that's fucking Chris Akabusi. And you're paying. It's fucking, it's quite funny. And that was that bowl, and that was literally the highlight of that
Wooga.
game. I think
Yeah.
Boosty.
Yeah,
I think for me, I think the Man City game for me on the Monday night, I went up on the supporters coach for that game, eating Sunday dinner sandwiches that I didn't manage to eat on Sunday because I was hammered. Anyway,
is that what Tom's referring to here?
Yeah, he just reminded me he was eating them as well. But it was like that was to me that game. That was when City came into the money, wasn't it? They had a bit of money about them then. And Ash,
that was a little bit.
It was sort of just before.
Yeah, but they was coming. They was coming goodish. They was coming goodish. You know what I mean?
Do you remember who we played on the Saturday?
No. Nah.
Right.
How do you remember everything?
We played Portsmouth, on the Saturday.
Struggled.
Right. And what happened is that I had a job. I went to work that day. But obviously, because we're playing Portsmouth, what I arranged is that I'll come in early in the morning at 5 o'clock, strip a load of work out that I was going to do, let the builders do what they had to do, but I'm not coming back till 5:30, 6 o'clock. So they said, all right, we'll leave the key under the mat. So I had to work till 10:30, 11 o'clock at night that night because I decided to go to the game. I walked into the game to see Redknapp had put out the fucking reserves against Portsmouth. We lost 4-2. Yeah, because obviously it saved everyone a Monday night. And I remember saying to my nephew, it better be fucking worth it, I tell you. Because I'm going to be, I'm walking out after watching that shower of shite, lose 4-2 to Portsmouth, knowing I had to go back to work, and I was working in Euston Tower. So I drive all the way back to Euston Tower. And 2 weeks or a week later, I found out I got a speeding ticket in the morning going through the Limehouse link.
Oh, bloody hell.
I've had one of those.
I've had one of them as well. No, I've had two.
That's but that Man City game, I'm jealous you boys were up there for that.
Yeah.
I just remember Dean Ashton's goal. I remember Dean Ashton's goal. He just smashed it. I just thought it was a fantastic sort of impulsive smash and grab finish. Do you know what I mean? It's just the power of it, I don't want to go on about it, but when you think about what could have been with him, I mean, geez.
It was a great night out, and the Man City fans before the game on the tram into the stadium, all friendly. Afterwards, they wanted to fight with everyone, didn't they? It was they were a little bit tasty afterwards.
Was that at the new stadium? That weren't at Main Road. They just moved into
the new stadium.
Yeah. But so look, I mean. That kind of concludes. We've just spent over 2 hours talking about West Ham FA Cup history, and this is the most comprehensive video on West Ham Cup history that's ever been made.
Absolutely. And do you know what? I hope we have kind of reignited everyone's love for the FA Cup now.
I love it.
Let's do it.
Honestly. That's a good
starting with our reserve team being put out against Leeds on Sunday.
Yeah. Hey, look, Anton was there too.
Reserve team,
It was cold. It was cold, Anton.
He lives in bloody Scotland. How cold can it be?
Manchester.
The beer warmed us up.
He said, yeah.
No, but he lives in Scotland, doesn't he, Anton?
Right. So what are we moving on to now, Nick? What's the next section?
Well, we'll do the quiz. We'll do the quiz now before we lose all the viewers, and then we'll do the rest of the show after.
Let's do the quiz.
Yeah.
Let's do the quiz.
Put your pin in. Put the pin in, people. Do the quiz.
I don't know how many's going to be on it. I think Freshfielder's on it. Freshfielder wants his revenge.
I want to beat Nigel as well, to be honest with you.
I'm going to finish last, so give me the pin.
Right, Joan.
This show is amazing, guys, because John is brilliant. Oh, thanks, Joan. Cheers. She didn't write it, but I know that's what she's thinking.
Come on, get on the quiz.
159.
How many on there? I'm on it, waiting, Nick.
Listen, John, did anyone notice how Anton sort of dived off to go to bed when the quiz was coming on? Do you think he bottled it a little bit? Do you think that's what happened there?
Probably,
is that what he did?
He did, yeah.
Nick, am I on it? Can you see my name, Nick, waiting or not?
Yeah, Virgil, yeah.
How many's on there? How many? 6?
There's only 4 on there at the moment. We'll give it a couple of minutes.
That's all.
Yeah.
That's all there is.
Come on, you lot, get involved.
Get involved. I paid for the extra license to give us up to 20 people. Howard, come on, good man.
Listen, you can feel nice because I'm going to finish last. So whoever don't feel embarrassed because I'll finish last. That's what I do.
I'm beating Nigel. Let's go.
Ollie Bangs is on there. Good stuff. Neil from Down Under. Come on, Anton, you're still awake. Come on, get on the quiz.
We was going to come up with a jingle for Nigel, weren't we? But no one took my Aqua thing seriously. Nigel knows, tell me Nigel knows. But Nick didn't like it. He wouldn't have it. I don't know why. I thought it was quite good.
What happened to the lasagna picture? Is that coming up later?
You don't. Why are you doing that now? Why have you done that again?
I'm just asking.
You can't stop talking about Tottenham. You complimented them 6 times earlier. Jesus Christ.
Gary's gone. Like he's pretending he's gone to the toilet because he's bailing out of the quiz.
Come on, people, join the quiz. Hurry up. Nick, how many people are on it? 6, 5? Where's Freshfielder? Is he on it?
No, he's on now. No, he is. Yeah, he's going nowhere. Because he was in the lead, wasn't he, for about 3 or 4 questions last.
Yeah, just for but Nick, 3 or 4 questions. Just like
and he fell away.
Where's Cannington Len? Why is he not watching you, Nigel? He got off you, is he?
That's probably sleeping, isn't he?
I'd love to
He's
meet
only
him.
pixels. He ain't real.
I'd love to meet.
I'd love to meet Cannington Len. He's got a voice that just cracks me up when I listen to him.
It's great because people don't know what he looks like. And one of my favourite things was him standing next to me while someone who obviously people know, I know him, he was standing next to me and he was going, I fucking love that Cannington Len. You tell him. And I go, all right, I will. And what I actually did was and then they start talking. Yeah. And I walked away and left them talking. And 2 weeks later, I told the geezer, oh, do you remember you had a chat with a geezer in Sports Club? Yeah. I went, yeah, that was him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he didn't know. Yeah. He did not know. You know.
In my mind, I reckon he's quite a little fella.
Is he?
I don't know. I've never met him. I'm just
not with his hat on.
John thinks it's a cartoon. That's what John thinks.
Yeah.
Because he made me look quite good looking in my picture, so I want to meet him.
I think I love his character because he's especially on the podcast because he loses his temper quite a lot, doesn't he?
I think that's his character. I think that's his real persona.
Yeah, no. What I mean is, I like his character.
Okay.
Well, he's a bit like you, Nick. That's what you're saying.
He loses his rag, doesn't he? He proper flips out, doesn't he? I love that.
Well, he's a Bethnal Green boy, isn't he? You know.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, lovely, good lad.
How do I turn the camera back?
Anton says he's trying to download it. So I don't know if you want to.
All right, we'll hang on for you, Anton.
Cannington Len, I watch quietly. Look,
yeah, there you go.
See, he's like a stalker.
DJ Rusty B's here. Look.
All right, Russ.
Russ, you're normally the quiz master. Are you going to join the quiz?
Nah, he can't do it. There's quite a few on there. Mrs. Hammerette's on there too. Lovely.
Yeah, there we go.
Mickey Smith thinks he's joined. What name have you got? Oh, yeah, Mickey.
Mickey, yeah. Bit of a giveaway.
Oh, God. Classic.
How many? We got 10.
That's quite a lot, yeah.
Good number.
10.
Right, should we give him a couple more minutes or should we go? What do you reckon?
Let me just say, if anyone beats Nigel, you get a free tour of his house. Well, shed, I should say. You get a free tour of his shed, and you get to lift the FA Cup with a picture taken. And Cannington Len draw it. I'll pay. Don't matter. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Or my old mate Cannington Len might do a little freebie.
All right, come. We're going
now.
You
have to pay extra for 2.
No, this one's Bethnal Green. This one's Bethnal Green. You ain't getting nothing for free.
Antonio, we've got 11. Right, let's go.
Let's do it.
Go on, then.
Hang on, I'm on the wrong one.
Get ready.
I'm going to
Here we go.
Nigel. Claret and Booze FA Cup quiz.
Only 13 questions, not too many.
13? Who does 13?
I'll just run out of time.
Oh, I've got slow internet here.
Right, who scored the winner in the 1-0 third round replay win over Arsenal at Highbury in 1989?
Oh, my God.
Alan Devonshire, Ray Stewart, Alan Dickens, or Leroy Rosenia?
I'm not cheating. I was there.
That is cheating by default. You was there.
Here we go.
4 got it right. 4 got it right.
Oh, Paul, well done. Well done.
Well done, Paul Riley.
He was bang on that. Okay. Question 2.
Argentinian Lionel Scaloni played in
Scaloni.
2006 for West Ham on loan from which Spanish club? Seville, Deportivo La Coruña, Espanyol, or Racing Santander?
Oh, I don't know this one.
Yes!
Do you know? I only see the questions on the screen, not on my phone. I just
No,
get the
you
colours.
get it.
No, that's how you got to do it. Yeah.
That's how you got to do
is
it.
it?
So,
Oh,
so
right.
your phone,
Yeah,
your
that's
phone
how
is a
it's done,
controller.
yeah.
Your phone's like a remote control.
Yeah, your phone's like these
Deportivo La Coruña.
I got
old
that
fellas
right.
with technology, eh? Jesus.
That's my one question I got right.
Oh, here we go. During West Ham's run to the 2006 final against Liverpool, who did they beat in? Oh no, it's gone in the third round.
I know that.
Bloody Gary just had that up, didn't he?
Just been on the screen.
Oh, for God's sake! I can't remember now. He was talking about them a lot. I'll go then.
Nigel even gave a clue recently, didn't he?
Did he?
He did.
Yeah. About Dean Ashton, wasn't it?
Only one got it right.
Me.
No, 5.
No, 5. 5 got it right.
Sorry.
Look at me in second place.
Oh, look at Shed
Look,
Man.
look,
Someone
look.
dethrone him. Someone dethrone him. Who is
this West Ham FA Cup hero from Te 1975 FA
what
Cup
was that
final?
word?
Spelling,
What's that word?
Spelling.
Fucking hell. Oh,
Mervyn Day, Frank Lampard, Trevor Brooklyn, or Pat Holland?
I pressed the wrong one. No, I ain't. I pressed the right. No, I pressed the wrong one. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I pressed the wrong one.
That didn't look like Pat Holland.
That was a young. He looked well young then, not really young.
That was
I'm
Mervyn
still
Day.
in second, strangely.
Here we go.
So Nigel's pulling out now.
Sorry? Oh.
He's
Not
pulling out.
West Ham was humiliated away at Tranmere Rovers in the FA Cup game in 1999. Which West Ham player did not start the game?
Oh, fucking
Yeah.
hell. Guess.
Steve Lomas, Scott Minto, Paul Kitson, or Paolo Di Canio? I bet no one.
Away, I think the clue's in the...
Away? Yeah, I think I know what you're saying there, girl.
Didn't we lose 1-0? They had a geezer who could throw the ball a mile.
Ian Hume. Was it Ian Hume?
I don't know. I've guessed
Canadian
this.
fella?
Fuck.
No one got it right.
Everyone went
Wrong.
Di Canio. Who was it? Kitson.
I knew it had to be Di Canio. It was away. Oh, well.
Yeah. That's why Nick threw it in there. Good red herring, I suppose.
Yeah. He's tough.
That was a
Which
good
player was the
question.
only one to score in a 2006 penalty shootout?
Oh, no, this- bang.
When Nigel knows, he has a right little smug look on his face. I noticed that. He sort of looks at the camera, tilts his glasses, and goes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, most people got that right, to be fair.
Yeah.
Right. In which season were West Ham victims of a giant killing by 4th Division side Newport County, losing 2-1?
Which season?
Yeah, in which season?
Jesus. How long did you get?
Strange stat. When we got to the quarterfinals of the European Cup Winners' Cup and lost to Dynamo Tbilisi, Newport County also got the quarterfinal of the European Cup Winners' Cup and they got knocked out by Cole Zeiss Jena.
Did they?
Really?
Yes, they did. Because they'd won the
Where's-
Welsh Cup.
Oh.
Where's Cole Sanyanga from?
East Germany.
Right. Is there anything you don't know?
No.
Yeah.
He's
Who
absolutely
played against
destroying.
Tranmere?
He's destroying everyone here. This is embarrassing, guys.
Come on, people, catch him up, for God's sake.
Right, true or false? On the first 2 occasions West Ham won the FA Cup, their entire team was full of Englishmen. True or false?
Oh, fuck. You done me. You trick question bastard.
Wait, language, Nigel. Yeah, we got
Come
him.
on, Gary. Come on,
That's
Gary.
a trick question.
Ooh.
That's wrong. That weren't true.
Why?
Because
It's true.
Ray Stewart played. He was
No,
Scottish.
no, he's 60.
Oh,
No,
I've
no,
got it
no,
right then.
1980. That was
Yeah,
1980.
yeah. I was
Yeah,
right.
yeah, you got it right. Yeah. You got it right.
Yeah.
Jeez, someone get him a shed with some more
Yeah.
stats in there. He needs some
Yeah,
help.
Right. Which Yorkshire-based non-league side did West Ham beat 2-1 in the third round during the 1997-98 season?
I've just wrote an article about it. Sorry, lads.
Oh, for God's sake! You phone Nick up and tell him what
It
questions.
fucking
to put in or
pissed
what?
down with rain before kickoff. I tell you what, like nothing. What a game that was.
Yeah, I remember that. I do remember that game.
And they play in Claret and Blue now still.
Yeah.
Did they?
Did they?
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, yeah.
That's amazing.
Freshfielder's moving up.
I'm
Where's
going
he
to
been for
plummet
the last
down to the
hour?
bottom sometime soon.
Well, to be fair, Gal, you're doing well on this one.
No, but
Oh,
I'll plummet
okay.
to the bottom soon. Don't worry about that.
Right, man. There's only 4 questions left. You're doing all right.
In which season were West Ham involved in their first FA Cup penalty shootout where they beat Blackburn 5-4?
Oh, mate. You have to guess, isn't it?
Oh, this is a fucking nightmare.
Roy Hodgson was manager of Blackburn.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Craig Forrest was in goal for West Ham.
the Canadian keeper legendary status.
How am I supposed
I've
to
had
know?
to guess this though because it was 1 or 2 years.
Oh,
I guess
I got
right.
it wrong. I got it wrong.
He even guesses right. He's getting on my wick.
Come on, Gary. I'm still in second place. Come on, Gary.
Last
How's
three,
Gary
there
in
was,
second?
there were 2
Gary
players
can't
not
remember
used in the
anything, he says.
2006 FA Cup final. Goalkeeper Jimmy Walker being one, but who was the other? Which
What,
player
not
was
used
not
sub?
used? Which player was not used? An unused sub.
Jimmy Walker and one other. Okay. Well, I remember seeing him celebrating after, so it's got to be who I think it is. Nigel's stumped. He is stumped, the boy. Look at his little face.
I got it right.
I wish
Get it
Canning
right, Nigel,
Tanley
get it
could
right.
draw some pictures of his confused face on this quiz tonight.
Did Nigel get it right?
Yeah.
Oh, playing tricks.
Oh,
West Ham's biggest ever FA Cup win is 8-1 back in 1914, but who was it against? Colchester, Cambridge, Chesterfield, or Cheltenham?
I'm guessing. I don't know.
I've guessed.
I've guessed.
I took a calculated guess though.
How can you calculate a guess with that lot?
Thinking of an old team. An old
They're
team.
all old, didn't they?
Yeah, I've got it right.
Very good.
Oh, I
Right.
guessed you right, yeah.
Yeah.
Gary, you're doing well on this one.
Well, yeah, it's unusual for me. I'm sure I'll plummet still.
It's the vodkas.
Yeah.
Right, who scored the winning goal in the FA Cup fourth round at Old Trafford in West Ham's 1-0 win in 2000 and 2001 season?
This is the last question. This is easy.
This is an easy one.
I was there for that as well.
27th of January.
Bartes? What was Bartes doing? Mugging him off?
You finished with an easy one there, Nick.
I know. There we go.
Everyone got that bar in one.
Well, what I'll do is I'll put up the full leaderboard as well, so you can see who came where, apart from the top 3.
I'll tell you what. I think because Nigel come top, I think we can ignore him. I won this one.
Dead man. He's won
Best
again.
of the rest, Al. That's what we like to say. The best of the rest.
Best of the rest.
Yeah, Paul Riley and Ben. Hang on. Next.
Well, put the rest up, Nick.
Figure out how to do it. Hang on. Back to podium.
That ain't how you do it. That's
Practice
definitely
makes
how you do it.
perfect. There you go,
Don't do
Gal.
that.
Practice makes perfect. Look.
Ah, fuck all that. Right. No, that was brilliant. That was really good. Enjoyed that.
All right. Okay. I'll take that off.
What should we do now?
Go on
what's
to
next?
news. We'll just have a chat
Right,
now.
news is going to be quick tonight. I ain't going to muck around. I'm going to do it quick. So let's not have long, winding conversations. But some good, sharp, pointed opinions would be good. Let's. I know it's impossible, but there you go.
It will run
Right.
as long as it runs, Gal. Run as long as it runs. Be fine.
As well as it runs. Claret and Booze news. So, listen, this is a sensitive one. When David Moyes was at Everton, being all successful and winning Manager of the Year 3 times and regularly finishing in Europe, he was accused of dithering in the transfer market. Though he had an excellent record in signing top talent, who you can see on the left here, that's just a subsection, by the way, of the top talent that he signed. Who would star at Everton? Many of these stars would stay at Everton and West Ham for many seasons. A small number of fans at Everton decided to label him as Dithering Dave because he was busy wasting. He wasn't busy wasting money on the first player he saw. He'd rather find the right fit before spending. He never bought in bulk like Harry Redknapp. But anyway, the nickname stuck, and when he moved to West Ham, the nickname transferred with him somehow. Now, every time there's a transfer window, you can guarantee Claret and you and many others will dig it out, followed by anyone else who wants to have a cheap dig, in brackets, Nick. But is being careful and signing only the right players a sign of dithering? Or is it a sign of how he should be?
Indecision.
After all, he doesn't have limitless funds. And even though he was skint at Everton, just look at this little sampling of players that he brought in, the Everton ones from this list. That doesn't suggest someone who's indecisive. It suggests he's a man who knows what he wants and won't settle for second best. So, Nick, this goes to you, surprisingly. You like to call him Dithering Dave, but does Dave actually dither?
Well, he does. By default, he dithers, yeah, because look, I think he proved it with the, even if you go back to the last window, with the, I'll tell you what he is, to give you an analogy. I'm not stereotyping women here, by the way, but like when you go out and women go clothes shopping, they'll go and they'll go to a top that they like, right?
Yeah.
They want that top, but they go, oh, no, I'm not going to do that. Then they'll walk around the Westfield shopping centre for the next 4 or 5 hours before going back to that top that they liked in the first place, and then they'll buy it. And that is what I think David Moyes did with Kurt Zouma and Milenkovic. And I think he could sort of wasted the window. I think he's dithering on Jesse Lingard. I think he is dithering on Jesse Lingard. No, he is, because look, at the end of the
pull you up quickly. I think he got the better player out of Zouma and Milenkovic.
No, but Milenkovic is younger. You can't say that at the moment. You can't say that at the moment. Look, I think they're both top players. I would have been happy with either. So I don't think you can, because Milenkovic, he's a captain of Fiorentina. He's younger. He's only 24. I think he's also the captain of his country as well. He's a top player. So either would have been good. The fact is, I know people say, "Oh yeah, Zouma he hadn't been injured for sort of, I think it was 3 or 4 seasons before he came here." But there were injury concerns with Kurt Zouma. 12 games in, he's got injured. Okay, I know it's unrelated to his last injury, but if he comes back, he gets fit, and then he gets injured again in a year's time, 2 years' time, we may look back and say it wasn't such a good signing. I hope it isn't. I think he's a top player. I think he's a wonderful
thing, Nick.
But listen, let's move this on to Nigel. What do you think about this? Dithering Dave or not?
I think he dithers. He does dither.
No, your chance is over. On to Nigel.
I want to eat a Toblerone here. Can you not see the mute button?
Go on. Boy, be careful.
I think Dithering Dave's an out of order. Disrespect title. Good to the man. I've moaned enough about it to the person that bleeding kept writing it.
Yeah.
And
did Sean start it?
I don't know really whether he started it or see it or inherited it.
Everton fans started it.
It's one of them things where we've made so many mistakes in the transfer market. Yeah, and we all argued, we don't want Sullivan involved. You look at the Pellegrini debacle and the way they went about it, and someone's finally being careful, making sure he's get the right player. John Lowell bought duds. Everybody, Harry bought duds. Loads of managers buy duds. Let's look at the signing just for West Ham that he's made. Has he made a dud yet?
Yeah, no. You don't say he's made a dud.
Jordan
Hugill. Wait. One second. In the summer last year, I think the last window, Zouma aside, even though he has got injured after 12, I do think he's a top player. So I do think Zouma is a top player. Okay. Right. Vlasic at the moment is not a top player. He may become a good player, but that is a lot of money to spend on a gamble, because he was clearly not ready to kick on in the Premier League. That's a lot of money. You're talking 30 million.
Fornals weren't ready. Ben Rama weren't ready. You have to allow 6 months to a full season.
Ben Rama's still not ready, Nigel.
Well, in your opinion.
Yeah. Nick, can I say something, Nick?
Go on, John.
Every transfer, every player you buy, no matter what their status, no matter who you buy them from, is a risk, because you don't know how they're going to settle. You don't know if they're going to get.
But that's exactly it. So sometimes, do you not think that you can just overthink it? I mean, Crowell, I mean, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, but they're loan. He's a loan signing, so it matters not.
Yeah, I appreciate it matters. Well, it doesn't matter not if we get an injury to either Rice or Souček. He has to play him, and then he's got to buy him for 18 million.
What do you mean?
Yep.
Who said
Yeah,
that?
Because there's an obligation to buy after he's played a certain amount of games.
Well, no, because you're missing out the fact that, and this is the thing, he has Kroll in training, and this is the thing that worries me.
Sees him in
we
training.
see Kroll playing for the Czech Republic team, yet he's not getting into the West Ham team, and they're putting Mark Noble in front of him.
Yeah, but I've seen Kroll play on quite a few occasions. The same as I've seen Hlozek play, because I've probably seen him play 4 or 5 times for his country and once for his club. Hlozek I've seen play more. I've not been impressed with either one of them two. Souček is a standout player in that from what I've seen.
Yeah.
He seems to sort of run things. Soufal also stands out, but Kroll and the other one, Hlozek, I'm not saying he won't be a good player one day, but whenever I've seen him play, he's like wide right. He's not a striker, and he's only a baby. So that would be another Vlasic. For us to go out and buy him, that would be another, it might come off. And I think we need players that are going to kick on now.
But Nick, it's very difficult, no matter how well we're doing, and we are overachieving, and that's the problem to some degree, right? We're overachieving with the squad that we've got, and Moyes has worked miracles, right? And that's not
100%, and you know that. I think he has worked miracles.
But the problem with that is that unfortunately it creates over expectations of who we can attract by some sections of the West Ham fan base. Let's be honest, this Jonathan David fella, I haven't watched him a lot, but if it's true that he's being watched by Paris Saint-Germain and others and us, is he really going to choose us over Paris Saint-Germain? That's all I'm saying.
Look. I firmly believe we've already proved. West Ham have already proved that when, for instance, when we had Pellegrini, I know it didn't work and I know it was a mistake. But Pellegrini, they proved with Pellegrini that you could go out and get one of the hottest talents in European football in Sebastian Haller. They did that. He was sought after. And we went out, we paid the money, and we got the player. I don't even think he wanted to join us, but we still got him. So it just goes to show you can do it. You can go out and you can get those players.
To be fair, it shows you want to join us.
But that's one player. That's one. So you're saying because it didn't work once, we should never go out and buy a top player again?
No, we're not.
But you have to be careful where you bring people in to upset the balance of a team, especially in the January. And the other thing about the January window is that if you sign in a centre half, let's say, because we've got injuries, what do you do when and a real decent centre half may look and think, oh, hold up, when Ogbonna and Zuma are back, I'm going on the bench.
There is that.
I don't want that. And that's the problem. If you sign in to strengthen the squad, that's different. But when you're doing it because you've got injuries, players will look and think, well, hold up a minute.
I think in the centre back position though, obviously Zuma he's been brought in as a right-sided centre back. there is Ogbonna is the left-sided centre back, but look, we don't know if he's going to come back. Even if we are giving him that extra year, we don't know. He's getting older. I think we're buying that. We're buying a first team player now. I would like to think so. We're buying Zuma's partner for when Zuma returns, because neither Diop clearly isn't, unfortunately. Because I like Diop. I had high hopes. I had high hopes for him. But for whatever reason, maybe being a bit part player for 3 years has just completely smashed his confidence. I don't really know what's gone on there. But he's regressed, isn't he, since he's come to West Ham? He ain't moved forward.
I don't know about regress, but he's not the player that Mourinho was gushing over when we played Man United.
No,
when he was first joined the club.
No, but a lot of players are confidence based, aren't they? And I think if you're not backed and you feel like people haven't got confidence in you, then maybe he's just that type of player. He needs an arm around him. He needs to go to a club where he's going to get.
I think he needs a leader next to him, and you
he does. He does.
And not two that you play together.
He does, because that's one thing I've noticed about Dawson is, although he's got that profile, being an old-fashioned centre back, he ain't a talker.
No, he's quite quiet. I've noticed that, and I like Dawson. I do. I've noticed that. But the only thing I'd say about the whole thing is, West Ham's transfer business in recent years has always been out there for all to see. And I think now, for whatever reason, whether they're doing it, I think they're doing, because our business is not as, people don't know what we're doing. People get almost angry that they don't know what we're doing. People want to know. There's like a need to know. We're 7 days into the January transfer window. Only 3 players have come into the Premier League, or 4 players.
Do you know what my
the only thing I'd say? What?
my argument is, which is why I think that we need a top player. It's not because I'm entitled or because of anything like that. It's because but it's because I rate the team that we've got so highly. We've got such a good team at the moment, but we need to improve it. So I don't want us to pad the squad out anymore. I want us to go out, even if it's just one. Even if you can just go out and just add one top player to that group that we've already got, that improves us. I mean, we saw what adding Lingard did to us last year. Lingard got us top 6. Make no bones about it. When we got him in January, he drove us on because we'd gone stale. So he got us top 6. Every now and then you need that. When I know we've got Declan Rice, who is world class, that's undoubted. But I think that you need we need that sort of X factor, if you like, in that final third. Whether that be an attacking midfielder or a striker. And I'm not saying to replace anyone. I'm not saying I've got the ump with any of our players.
No, I know you're not.
We need to improve. If we don't improve, then because you can't stand still in football. If you stand still, you go backwards because everyone around you improves.
No one's going to disagree with you on that, right? It would be fantastic to get some new players in to add a little bit of spice to the team and give us that extra list. Extra
I'm not saying a team full of them. I'm not saying world-class players everywhere.
But look, we're going to move on to story number 2. But so this is a democracy in this in Claret and Booze. So we're going to have a vote on does David Moyes deserve to be called Dithering Dave?
He doesn't. No, he doesn't.
Right. So we all agree that's a flat 0.
To be fair, I don't call him Dithering Dave. I do imply that he divers. I imply that.
No, I know. But
because he frustrates me.
But from now on, don't even imply it because, as Nigel said, it's offensive.
It's not. No, it's offensive. Fucking buying Vlasic and Crowell and not bringing someone else in.
What's the story number 2? Right. Story number 2. You'll be glad to know I won't be taking you through the full financials in detail because it's too late and it's too boring. So I just want to take you through 2 things in particular. Firstly, interesting to see that our losses for the year ending May 21 was some of the lowest in the league, which is great to see, albeit the chart you're seeing it doesn't really include all the 2021 results. The main discussion I want is around the Baroness. We've seen a previous remuneration levels restored to pre-COVID levels with a 300k pay restoral, I suppose you could call it, taking a annual salary for a part-time role to 1.33 million. So far, Lady Brady has earned 10.5 million since joining West Ham. I think it's great to see her not struggling to make ends meet. Times must be quite hard for her. It must have been a struggle in the last couple of years. So, Nigel, this one's going to you. I know you published an article on your superb new website called 6foot2.co.uk. So I'm going to ask you a couple of things. Did anything jump out at you from the financials which might be interesting? And secondly, and I know you'll agree with me here, does Lady Brady represent excellent value for money? Over to you, Nigel.
I think that bearing in mind it covers the first COVID season. Or the full COVID season. So, if you look at the jump in income up to 190 odd million, I think that shows you how successful that season was. Or that period was. So the income, bearing in mind, I don't know if that covers that they had to pay back some of the TV money, but a lot of that obviously would have come from TV money. The thing about income is, we look at 190 million and people think, oh, we've got a load of money to spend. It's profit. There weren't no profit, was there? But losses were less. Going forward,
million loss.
Yeah, going forward. But that's a 26 million loss on top of a 40 odd million loss on top of the previous loss the year before that. It's like 4 or 5 years running at a loss. Now you see why Kretinsky was welcomed in because, and what you'll see as well is where Kretinsky's money went. Kretinsky's money went.
Pay
the debts. Possibly some of the debt is to the owners as well, but who know? But that's we'll find that out whenever that's carried out. Realistically, but it wouldn't surprise me that if. Not, they may not take all the money, the 40 odd million, but they may take, 50% of it, perhaps, or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's here or there. It's it's funny, you know. It's all depend on how the reporters want to report it, how they turn it. So, and this is the thing: the highest paid director at West Ham got paid £300,000 more. Now that is officially what it is. Now, we all know, or whatever, that the highest paid director is Karen Brady. Yeah, because she's the one that gets the big chunk of change. The others don't draw a wage, apart from probably the finance director and a couple of other little. But anyway, so we know that's Brady.
Yeah.
West Ham didn't say she got a £300,000 pay rise. People that reported it as a £300 pay rise. What it then comes out is this was a payback of the £300,000 she took
pre-COVID
in the reduction
post-COVID.
So when she stood, you know, when she wrote in her article in the Sun and everything, well, I've done this, we're all doing this, we've all took a pay cut or put aside thing. What they never stand up and do is admit when they get the money back. They just leave it, you know. So you know, a year or ago we were all sitting there, well, I weren't, saying well done for taking a pay cut. You know, I think we all know what I think of Brady out. And
Brady out.
It's just though. So next season, so now she's got paid 1.3 million.
Yeah.
Next season, I'd imagine we'll see her get paid $1 million again.
Yeah. I suppose. Look,
but we're all in it together, aren't we?
We are all in it together, but playing devil's advocate, she is the CEO of the company, and she is there purely to represent the shareholders of the company. She doesn't give a toss about customers. She's there to represent the shareholders, right? And for the shareholders, she's grown the value of their equity, hasn't she? You know, over and over again. So has she done the job she's been employed to do? And so does she, again, playing devil's advocate, because I don't like her, and I think she's been offensive to the whole supporter base. She's infuriated a lot of the supporter base. She doesn't give a toss about our tradition or anything like that. All that stuff is a given. But from purely a business point of view, as a CEO representing the shareholders' interests, she's kind of done what she's there to do, isn't she?
But you're not surprised that she's still there, because I thought that she would have almost been sacrificed for.
It's easy money, though, isn't it?
That would have appeased a lot of fans, I think, if they'd have got rid of her.
No. Again, does appeasing the fans come into it? Because I don't think it does. When you're talking about the board, I don't think they really care about the fans.
I think what the board probably would you know, have a look. If you go out on social media, how many people complain about Karen Brady? Yeah, it's not same old people. Yeah, me and a few others. Yeah, not many. So they'll look at it as the Brady out. Yeah, you know, but it ain't. And the thing is, sometimes I bang my head up against the wall with some of the bigger profiles. If they could have got behind Brady out and not GSB out, you might have actually got a victory. And it was a twofold thing, because Brady actually runs the club, or is in charge of the day-to-day running of the club. Yeah. You know, the ticketing, the way it's all done and everything. All the people below her have been brought in by her generally, or in their positions because of her. Yeah. So a lot of the complaints in the way the club's mowed actually sits on her head, not Sullivan and Gold's head, because they don't run the club day to day. Sullivan don't leave his, you know, well, he never used to leave his house. Now he goes and shakes his new bird. But anyway, you know, so it's all on her. But the funny thing is, you know, even this week she phoned into GMTV, you know, from the Maldives.
Yeah.
So
Freshfielder's got a good point there. It's Sullivan's firewall, isn't it?
Yes. That's what it, and that's the thing. She comes with Sullivan, not specifically. If you look at her career as a start, and blimey, don't get Len on it, because he knows better than anyone else probably. You know, she started off in marketing. I think she's bigged her up herself. You'd have to listen to our last podcast. I don't know if we had definitely had a conversation. I don't know if Len's still here. It may have been off air. I think it was on there. I haven't listened back to it, about Brady and how she bigged up perhaps some bits of her career that weren't quite right. But at the end of the day, you know, she got where she was by selling advertising to David Sullivan, and he liked what he saw.
Yeah.
She comes with Sullivan, not with gold.
No, absolutely
And
right.
so I think actually that is a great fresh fielder there.
What he
said.
Yeah.
That's what she is, the firewall.
Yeah.
I'm not as into it as you are, Nigel, in terms of, the demonstrations and all that whatnot.
Yeah.
But from my side of things, I look at it, most people that I know seem to be more against, in order of hatred, if that's the right phrase. It's always Sullivan 1 and then Brady 2. Gold seems to be the one that everyone's a little bit like.
Well, Mr.
what I mean?
442 Green Street, born in their fan. To be fair, he weren't, was he? He was born in Stepney, and then he turned up. The funny thing is, I don't know. Perhaps I knew David Gold's family while he owned Birmingham City.
Yeah.
He was a local trader. My mum's family were traders in the same area, and they knew the families and everything.
Yeah.
And you think of it, I've always, me, I'd love a team of 11 West Ham born players managed by a West Ham born manager, run by West Ham born owners. The strange thing is, here is as West Ham an owner as you can get in Gold, and don't shit on your own doorstep, I think was a good East End phrase that I sort of levelled against him.
Can I ask you something, Nigel? I'm sorry to interject. After what we've just witnessed with and I'm not having it. I like Tony Cottee. Would you be happy for Tony Cottee to be involved at West Ham?
No,
neither would I.
No.
Me neither. The guy is not a businessman. He shouldn't be. No, he shouldn't be let.
I feel in a way what it is, and this is the thing. And
I'm not having a go. I'm not having a go.
No. But
I'm not having a go at him. Yeah.
He's had 3 attempts to buy West Ham or be part of the people that buy West Ham, and he seems to keep backing the wrong side.
I know.
Yeah.
So is that bad luck? Is that bad thing? But the thing is, what you can't deny is Tony Cottee loves the club. Yeah. He loves West Ham, and he loves West Ham, and he wants to be part of West Ham, and he's so desperate to be part of West Ham that he will jump in. The thing is, the stadium move tainted certain people with me, and one of them was Tony Cottee, because he stood up at a fans meeting that I was in attendance for and told us and just spun the club's line about how wonderful it was. Now at that time Tony was bringing a book out and he was hoping to sell it in the club shop, but guess what, the club didn't let him stock it in the shop, so that sort of backfired. And I remember walking past him at that meeting, and he was standing there, and I thought, I can't even say hello to you because there was only about 4 or 5 of us antis, or there was a bit more than that, but it just, every time they trotted out these players to tell us how wonderful it's going to be, I'm thinking, no, what you're doing is you're towing the party line, because that's where you're
they're just the puppets, aren't they? And that's and they think that you're naive enough.
I'd more respect for the likes of Phil Parks, who public, and Alvin,
100%.
And even Billy Bonds. Billy Bonds.
Well, Billy Bonds is the greatest exponent of keeping himself to himself.
I think if Billy Bonds backed something, you'd listen, wouldn't you?
You would. And
Billy Bonds backed the Bond scheme.
Well, this is the one. Funny you should mention that, because this is the one blight. Our hero worship Trev. They're
not business people. These ex-footballers are.
No, but listen, Nick. Let me finish. The one blight in Trevor Brookings' copybook is he backed the Bond scheme.
Yeah.
Right, and I
did as well. So
I have forgiven Brooking for doing that, because I'll forgive Brooking for anything, frankly. But with Tony Cottee, who didn't spend his whole career at West Ham, he for whether he wanted to or not, he went chasing the pound note at Everton and then came back eventually. So he didn't spend his whole career at us. So he doesn't have the same, to me, prestige as Trevor Brooking. He's not a lifetime West Ham player, and so. When he makes a fuck up, I can take exception to it. Whereas with Trevor Brooking, I can forgive him for doing it. Even though he's badly mistaken with that Bond scheme shit. He really
the funny thing about the Bond scheme is if Bill had to back it, he was the manager. Yeah. If he weren't the manager, would he? I don't know. Yeah. The thing about the Bond scheme was the theory behind it possibly was right. The marketing was possibly the worst marketed thing in the world.
Yeah.
I don't know, Nige. I don't know, Nige, because we had a 25,000 seater stadium at the time, a 25,000 capacity stadium, and the attitude was we're going to sell every one of these 25,000 seats, if you remember. And then the big question was, what if kids want to go? It's like, oh, well, they'll just wait for someone to die and then they can inherit their seat. Oh, brilliant. Fucking great idea. What a way to grow a football club. You know, the way to grow a football club is to bring youngsters in. It was the most short-sighted, shitty idea I've ever seen. Arsenal did it in a small quantity. They didn't sell the whole ground. That's the way to do it in a small quantity.
No, but also the difference between us and Arsenal, because my mate was an Arsenal bond, or is Arsenal bondholder. The difference was, is that Arsenal did it off the back of winning the title in '89 and '91. And we did it off the back of being relegated.
Exactly. But it was also selling the whole ground. So it was like everything that you saw before you was going to become if they had their way, everyone would be a bondholder in that ground. And
it was short-sightedness because we had a 42,000 seater stadium up to 1981. We then had a 36,000 seater, or with terracing, up until the Hillsborough, which the bond scheme was brought in to redevelop because they were being forced by the government to rip up the terracing. Now, why it was short-sighted, as you say, and you're right, because their proposal was to build a 25,000 seater stadium. But you think in the past, hold up a minute, we've had 40-odd thousand people here, not 20-odd years ago. How is that? You know, that's the short-sightedness, and the way they marketed it was absolutely shocking.
It was terrible. So anyway, look,
never got his money.
I've got one comment I want to bring up because it made me laugh. 1 minute. It's about Nigel from Epic Hash Time. I want to know if Nigel has ever been bitten by a spider.
Yes. On the leg. Fucking hurt. And
must have been your spider senses for your quizzes.
Yeah.
For your quiz knowledge.
Right, so we're going to move on to news story number 3. So this is a short, fun one. In the Footballers Football podcast this week, Mikel Antonio said someone didn't like him when he arrived at the club. Apparently, this person, this man of mystery, accused him of joining to take his position. There was a story of him walking into the dining room and everyone greeted him, how are you, where'd you play, blah, 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 blah. And this person just blanked him. So this is just a murder mystery we got here. You know, someone tried to murder Mikel Antonio's career when he arrived. But the mystery is, who the hell was it? So I've got a couple of ideas for you, as you can see on the screen. It could be Morgan Amalfitano, a right-sided winger. It could be Cole Jenkinson. It could be Cole Jenkinson, who used to push up on the right and play on the right side. It could be Victor Moses, another right-sided player. Victor Moses, apparently, that was kind of the favourite for a lot of people on Twitter. But anyway, look, this question goes to you, John, right? Who could the Antonio hater be? And even if you don't know, I want you to accuse someone. So go on, John.
I would say it's that Amalfitano geezer.
Oh, come on. You can't even say his name.
I know. I didn't even know it was looking at him. That's how much.
Amalfitano, John. Amalfitano.
That sounds like a Lion King song, isn't
it? Well, it's like Positano. It's like that.
No, I think that obviously because Antonio came in, he was a bit of a robust character. You can imagine him walking in, probably caused a bit of a scene, built like a brick outhouse. I'd say it was that guy. We got him from West Brom, that guy, didn't we? I remember. Right?
Yeah, we did. Morgan Amalfitano. Yeah.
I reckon it'd be him because he had a poor attitude, didn't he? You know what I mean?
So you're putting on your.
Didn't he get frozen out? Didn't Amalfitano get frozen out?
Yeah, because he had a poor attitude. How long was he with us for? 6 months.
Yeah. He had a bust up, didn't he? Yeah, he had a bust up.
Moses
so you're voting
online, wasn't he?
So John, you're voting Morgan Amalfitano. I'm going to vote Victor Moses. Nigel, who are you voting?
Mark Noble.
No. It's a tough one, really, because there's a bit of me that thinks I wonder if it's Andy Carroll. But
Andy Carroll?
He never played on right.
Well, he won a striker, was he? When he came in?
But and that's the thing. You know, he was right-sided. I don't know. I think Zarate came in at the same time, did he?
I think he did, yeah. I think he did.
So then it wouldn't have been him, would it? So
wouldn't have been who?
Zarate.
2015-16 it was.
Yeah.
We got Antonio in September of 16.
15. 15. Amalfitano.
A lot of people saying Moses, look. Well, two people.
Yeah, but Moses
was only on loan, though, wasn't he?
Exactly.
So I don't know if it was Moses. I mean, the Maltitano rings, he was a bit funny story I've got about Maltitano is his neighbour was my mum's mate. So my mum asked her, mate, can you get a shirt for my son? Which she duly did, and which he did, which I was grateful to receive, but it was for an 8-year-old. So when her neighbour went, can you, my best mate's son loves West Ham, can he have a shirt, please? He actually went in the shop and got an 8-year-old shirt for me. And then they give it to me.
You?
Yeah. Yeah.
You ain't wore an 8-year-old shirt since you was 4, have you?
Probably not, no. Yeah. So I've still got it tucked away, folded up somewhere. This shirt that a Morgan and Maltitano gave. I wanted one of his shirts. Yeah, because she said it was for her mate's son. He thought I was some little kid, some like nearly 50-year-old. But I mean, a Maltitano, yeah.
I think so.
Away game at West Brom in the cup, wasn't it that year? 4-0, I think. Didn't he get sent off and it all got a bit...
Yeah, he had a massive strop, didn't he?
Yeah.
So I think I think, Nick, you're saying a Malfitano, Nigel, you're saying it.
But I know you want to speed it up, but I want to say because we don't coo a lot about Antonio, right? We don't. And Antonio's been given. I know it might be unpopular with a lot of people because for whatever reason, there's people. He's not. I don't know why he's not everyone's favourite player, and I don't get that because I can understand criticising Antonio. Not even I can't understand criticising Antonio. No. I can understand identifying that he isn't the most technically gifted player in the world. I get that, why. Right? But I get that. But do you know something? That guy, I've heard opinions where people have sort of called him arrogant and they've called him lazy and they've called him this. You don't come through the fucking path that he's taken in football through that non-league and just keep on going and getting better and better, especially when you're lacking in technical ability, which he is at times. He's made his way through football with heart and passion, and he has run his whole fucking career since he's been at West Ham, and I hope he does do 10 years at West Ham because that bloke has run through brick wall after fucking brick wall for us, and I love him, and I absolutely love him, and that is one player I adore him, and I really do.
I think that the problem with Antonio is that to some people he stands in the way of us going out and getting a proper striker.
Did you hear what he said today, though, John? John, did you hear what he said today? So this puts this to bed. He came out and said, we need to sign a new striker. I welcome the competition. That is a fantastic thing to say. I love him. And the reason he lacks technical ability is because he wasn't brought through an academy system.
No, he weren't.
He didn't have that apprenticeship, did he?
But do you know what, though? There's certain bits of his game that, do you know what? For what he lacks in technical ability, he makes up for with everything else. I mean, he's almost inhuman sometimes what he does. I mean, when he has a bad game, he has a bad game. But we've said it before, John, haven't we? He can make a good ball bad, and he can make a bad ball good.
Yeah. You know what you're getting with him, didn't you?
He's amazing. And
lyrics to "The Power of Love" by Huey Lewis, wasn't it?
Yeah. But I mean, what are your thoughts on him, though, Nigel? He's a bit of a hero of mine.
Listen, undoubtedly, the way I like to see it is that I do love the old ex-Hammer shows, and sometimes you look at I would look at the team now and go, well, who in 10 years' time will I pay 30 quid to go and listen to? He is one that stands out for me. The only thing back at his time, remember, David Gold got mugged off into tweeting, I can't find this person. Do you know where he is? And Dave Gold retweeted it and they put a picture of Antonio up because I don't think he got into the team until November.
No.
So who was worried that much when he weren't even in the team? It's quite interesting.
From what I can remember, weren't we trying to loan him out, but he refused to go out on loan?
Yeah,
because he wanted to stay. We tried to.
That's the rumor.
Him out on loan, and apparently what happened was because I'm sure it was because it was Bilic, wasn't it? I'm sure it was from Bilic.
Yeah.
It was apparently Antonio is the type of player because, as we've all said, he hasn't got the technical ability. So you can probably. I reckon he's the type of player that you can only see what he's got when he's on a match day when you put him on the pitch. in a match day environment, stick him on a pitch, and then you get it. You go, all right, okay, fair enough, because he hasn't got the technical ability. I can understand with technical drills and stuff like that, he probably ain't going to stand out as much as a Lanzini or something. But you stick him on a football pitch on a match day. He's a runaway train. Yeah. He's ridiculous, and we're lucky. He's brilliant, and like I say, and also don't forget, or is Noble drawing with him now? But he was just recently our highest Premier League goal scorer, wasn't he as well?
No, he is. He is our highest.
He still is. So, and he's only just recently become our striker. So, I really, I know I can be harsh about like loads of people, but for him, I don't get it. I don't get how people can be harsh.
But that's what I think it is. I think a lot of people that are desperate for us to get this world-class striker, they see Antonio as in the way.
I want a world-class.
I know, but they take. Yeah, but you're not one of them people. I'm saying people take their frustration with that desire out on Antonio.
Yeah,
they do. And the thing about saying arrogant and saying this, that just pisses me off. I've got to be honest.
It's ridiculous.
Oh.
Right. So
now, be upstanding for the national anthem.
Oh, yes. Fucking hell, it's midnight.
Yes, midnight.
Right, where's my local MP?
Oh,
right. Yeah. Okay, that's good. We're gonna finish the show though because we're almost done. So we're gonna go.
Nick, let's bring this to a close. This news item. Let's give a vote. Right, I'm voting Victor Moses. Who's voting?
Amalfitano.
Nigel, you voting Amalfitano?
Yeah, I think I will. Yeah.
All right, it's a 3-1. Morgan and Amalfitano win. Morgan Amalfitano was the crook. He was the one that tried to piss off. Always despised Mikel Antonio, apparently. Anyway, look, Nick, what's next? Go on.
It's John. John is now after 3 hours got to try and be funny and do mock the week.
Oh, that's easy. I can be funny just looking at you, can't I? It's easy, can't you?
Well, when we look at you, we laugh.
Exactly. That's what I meant, Nige.
Right, John, go on. You take it away, mate. It's after your slide.
Right, I'm going to turn into a pumpkin if this carries on anymore. A rather large pumpkin, I'll have you say. Nigel, you ready for the lyrics?
Oh, shit. No, you didn't tell me you was doing that. Hold up, stay there.
This don't need many words, but
Nigel lasagna, whoa, lasagna, whoa. Oh, we laughed to bits when he burnt his bits.
Yeah. We'll leave that there.
Superb.
Remembers Pete Doherty?
Yeah.
He come on in the week for Tottenham.
Oh, for God's sake!
You telling me that ain't Pete Doherty?
Go back. Let me have a look. Go back.
Come on. Hey, yeah. Clutch of straws, but I'm having it.
Yeah.
We all went Palace last week, except Nigel couldn't tell the time. West Ham had a fantastic win, diving headfirst into the new year. There's the old, everyone wants to know who we're going to buy. January 1st transfer window. The ITKs are on the phone. Even Noel Edmonds is on the phone. If you would have listened to the rumours, that would have been the players outside the stadium on January the 1st signing. Probably a little bit more looking like that, if we're honest.
Yeah, absolutely.
People accusing Moyes of being a diverer. People like Nick and other Everton fans. Hang on, I can't get it up. Is David Moyes divering? I don't think he is, because, if you listen to all the rumours, we're going to get this guy, this slippery character. He loves to use a bit of Vaseline, doesn't he? So no one can grab onto his arms and they slide off him and all that. There he is being Vaselined up. I'll tell you who do want him to leave and come down to London. No, it's these two non-league players from Barnsley. They've run out of Vaseline up there. They're using cooking oil.
Crisp and dry. That's the way to go.
Yeah. We're linked with Barbosa from Pirates of the Caribbean. And we do know that this geezer's coming to us. No matter what you say, Phil Jones is on his way. Yeah? It's only a short mock the week. And I just want to say one thing. Thanks to Nigel for coming on the show. He's got a fantastic new website coming out. He's got a fantastic new website that's already out. And here he is in one of his photo shoots advertising his new website. Nigel, first question, what happened to the air? Second question, tell us about your website, mate. Go on briefly.
yes, 6foot2.co.uk. 6foot2. It's obvious if you know if it's obvious. Those that don't, it does get explained. Obviously, it was an old chant for Billy Bond. 6'2", eyes are blue. Something I dreamed of for years. Had a little play with it years ago, but then brought it back. It's going to be a fanzine website. I'm honoured to say that we've got a tie up. So you know, I'm going to put all your videos up there, so people can see them on there as well, and as well as on YouTube. And we'll have bits and bits. Nick's article did get published today.
Well, don't tell him that, for God's
sake.
sake.
That's the first article I've ever done.
Can I just say it was total shock because Nick didn't tell me he was going to write it. He then I didn't even realise that I had a membership contact button until Nick told me. which I had a good old chuckle with Andy, my web developer, and he said, which is fantastic because that's exactly what I want. I want. The thing about a fanzine was, yes, you had your regular writers, but you had your irregular people, and the idea is it's a fanzine.
I'm definitely irregular. That's something for me. Yeah,
there's a members side and there's a non-members side. At the moment, for the rest of the season, the membership's free because what I want to do is I want to show people what you're going to get. Yes, there will be a charge. Believe me, it won't be anything like what the charges go around. 30 quid max, but I don't even think it'll be that. That'll be in the members in, and what you'll get is obviously for the membership, that'll enable me to make. I love doing this. I've not set up the YouTube channel because I'm not equipped to do it. I'm good at coming on and whatever, but I'd be making the history videos like I make. I can continue making them, making better. We'll go and do the tour. The three of us, or the three of you with me, we'll film it. We'll make that as a video and share it. And obviously, I've got a wealth of information, interviews. I've got interviews lined up with the bloke that did Panini stickers. What I'll be doing is I'm going to go out and buy a Panini book and a box of Panini stickers, and we'll keep updating it. And I want to encourage as many old farts as possible. Go out, get your Panini stickers. And because now my kids are too old, they don't go to school. I can't give them my doubles because my kids never collected Panini. I did, and I'd have to give them to my daughter to say, take them to school. There's the list of what I need. And some of her mates at school thought she was really cool girl for collecting Panini or Merlin, as it were, like football stickers. And actually, she never told them it's for my dad.
I'll tell you what, it's a brilliant website. I love the concept of it, right? And the fact you're putting some of your kind of authentic content on there as well. Like I spent a little bit of time on there yesterday, and I stumbled across a referee's report for Everton versus West Ham back in 1985, wasn't it?
A lot. Yeah.
Was it 1985?
85,
yeah, it was. Yeah,
and I'll tell you what, just reading that, and it'd been transcribed as well, so you could read the original or you could read the transcribed version. It's so interested in that kind of stuff.
I mean, the thing about my collection is that I collect little things. Yeah, I mean, madly, like what have I done this week? I paid £65 for a train.
Yeah.
Why would I buy a train? I'll tell you why. Because in the 1940s and 50s, West Ham had a steam train named after them. And if you remember the plaque that used to be up, there was a plaque up outside the West End. Well, this is actually a replica of that train. Not only is it a replica of the train, it's actually got the West Ham logo on it. So this is an actual Hornby model of the West Ham United steam train that I bought at auction next week.
So you're telling me this is a Hornby produced model with the badge on?
Yeah, so
it ain't been retro painted.
No,
this was produced.
No, this is a dedicated Hornby model of the exact West Ham United train, including the plate on the sides.
Well, that is the kind of stuff, the contents of your shed, Nigel. If you can somehow move the contents of your shed onto that website together with all the other good stuff you're doing, I'll tell you what, it'd be a place. I love going to poke around on websites like that. It can keep you busy for hours.
The layout of it is it's up to people. They can come in every day. There'll be 3 or 4 new. There'll be a couple on the members, couple on the non-members. You know, we'll have the videos. Podcasts will be on there. I'll be doing more podcasts and interviews coming up. I'm actually interviewing the Panini bloke who wrote the Panini book, whose dad actually played for West Ham. Funny enough. So you know, that's what I've got lined up. So it's.
Have you got a job? It's just like you got a job. How do you find time to do all this?
I have got a job.
No, I didn't mean that disrespectfully.
No. This is obviously a passion, you know, and I want to turn it into a better passion, and in a way educate. There's a lot of new fans out there that don't know it, and I want to try and educate them. That's why perhaps I do need the membership, because I've sort of moved to part-time, you know. Which, you know, I've got to juggle football and I've got to juggle paying my way and everything, but to do it properly, it means I have to go part-time. And I could have gone with the membership charge at first, but I want to show people first. You know, the important thing for me is not the money.
Nigel, you've been giving stuff to the West Ham community like this for fucking donkey's years, mate.
You know, it's just it's just about it'll help cover not so much the expenses, but it'll enable me to go out there and do better. Basically, you know, make better videos, get better content. And this is the thing, you know, how much do I spend? I was talking to a journalist the other day. I'm going to be in the Times tomorrow, people. I'll tell you now.
For God's sake.
The eccentric West Ham fan. And when he was talking about the collection and like, you know, how much do I spend? And I don't, you know, you think, I've just paid, you know, first week of January, £65. That's bonkers. And don't get me wrong, I am bonkers. Yeah, I fully admit it. I'm insane, but what I do, but I'm sane enough to know I'm insane. You know, 300 quid for an FA Cup.
Yeah, but you know what, Nigel? The funny thing is, mate, you say that, but I know I'm one of them, and there's probably a lot of West Ham fans who would love to be bonkers if it meant having a collection like that. And that's the truth, mate. I look at that. I ain't kissing your behind, mate. I'm in awe of that. That was amazing what you've done.
The funny thing is, it's quite a bone of contention, because what happens when I get too old to keep it?
I'll have it.
And the kids, I think, but ideally, I'd like to think that whoever owns the football club then, and we know it'll be different owners, that we could do a deal and incorporate it. You know, I've got stuff from the Boleyn that, you know, ideally, if they said to me, do you know what, come and take your shed and put it in the stadium, you know, I would do that, you know, because at the end of the day, there's a bloke in Australia who's actually, I think, has got a better collection than me. But the problem is in Australia, he can only show it online, and you know, and it's fantastic what he's done. And the collectors world, check out a bloke, Chris Mills on Twitter. Look at what he's done. You know, funny enough, he bought an FA Cup.
Is he an expat, Nigel?
Is that Chris Mills?
Chris Mills is over here. He's done a fantastic West Ham room. Right. You know, I think it's Perth Hammer.
That's what I was saying. Chris Mills is the guy that's got that fucking wonderful bar, hasn't he?
Yes. So if you, I mean, look at that, how fantastic is that? You know, and the way it is, the problem for me is I've got too much stuff to do that.
But no, that's the sort of thing. Look, I hope you use the website. Honestly, I hope you use the website to bring out the fucking true breadth and depth of your collection, because even that one referee's report that I read from 1985, I know it's an early website, you know, but that one referee's report kept me busy for 10, 15 minutes.
But that's what I'm saying, Gary.
I love that.
Gary, what he's got there is he's got a lifetime of content as well, because everything's a story.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
But you know what?
I could spend days on there if he starts putting stuff like that on there. You know what I mean?
What the thing is that Nigel's got his lifetime of supporting West Ham in his shed, right? Yeah. But because we're all West Ham fans, he's also got our memories in that shed as well. So that's why you have such. That's why it resonates so much with everyone. There's something from all that history.
It's hard, the thing is, sometimes I'm at odds with West Ham. You know, the big thing for me is, when was West Ham formed? 1900 or 1895?
1900, we know.
Freshfield has joined, Nigel.
That's great. Thanks,
Well
Sean.
done, Sean.
Yeah. The thing about it is, people get tattoos now, 1895, and you know, Gary will know this, yeah. And it starts off with Panini, because Panini in 1978, I think, which is the first album I did. When was West Ham formed? You'll see it say 1900. You know, when we were kids, West Ham was formed in 1900. I've got document after document that says West Ham was formed in 1900. But what happened is, and the owners at the time, I don't know if they did it for money, but around 1990, 1991, they changed the formation date to 1895 to incorporate the Thames Ironworks formation. So they literally changed it. Why is that? They did the centenary year.
With the bubbles on the shirt and all that.
You know, the bubbles on the shirt. And, you know, we played Sport in Lisbon, was it?
Yeah.
And, you know, that was a shit attended game. You know, but not only that, my abiding memory of that night was walking past the bowling pub after the game, and the biggest cheer in the world happened. And when I looked through the window on the TV, David Seaman was sitting in the back of the net, and Naeem had just banged that fucking goal.
Naeem from the halfway line.
My abiding memory of the celebration, the 100-year game to celebrate West Ham at the end of the season, was Naeem's goal on the side. I didn't even see the goal. I just see Seaman in the back of the net on the TV, on the bar in the bowling pub. You know.
Nigel, there's a message here for you, Nigel, quickly. Nigel's a top lad. If I can promote his new website, he knows where to find me.
I'll tell you, check out Stevie's Facebook page. The bowling, the man's got one of the best, well, if not the best, badge collection. You know, and badges were like an easy way in, wasn't it? When you were a kid to collect things, and this man. You know, he's a legend of a West Ham fan.
My boy Lee. When I started taking him when he was about probably 3 or 4. And every time it was a bit of a ritual. Every time I took him, it was I had to get him a different badge.
Yeah, check out. He's got a website, the Bowling Badges. Fantastic on there. But he collects other teams' badges as well. So get on his website, and if you've got any football badges you don't want, send them to him, because you know he's such a lovely bloke as well.
So what's that? Bowlingbadges.co.uk, yeah?
Something like that. Yeah. Steve, tell us what your website is.
And Neil from Down Under. So you got Neil from Down Under just signed up as well. That's nice. Thanks, Neil.
Yeah, you've had 4 sign-ups already, Nigel.
You know what? I've been blown away this week. You know, the big start date was going to be the weekend, and I did sort of what I call soft push.
You know, such a marketing lover.
Design this, I know.
Such a marketing lover. I did a soft push.
So, and you know, I think I spoke to like Andy, my webman, a day. I didn't realise. You know, I think we've hit nearly 150 members just in a couple of days.
You're well thought of, mate. You're well thought of.
So, you know, and
amongst some people,
it's a bit humbling. You know, I do. You know, for me, I laugh and joke and sometimes whatever, but. Yeah, you know, when you see things like that, you know why we love this club.
Yeah,
and the people in it are absolutely fantastic.
Just bear in mind, Nigel, one piece of your memorabilia, if you take a scan of it or you transcribe it or something like that, that's going to keep the likes of me busy for about 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, I know. Well, I say, well, like you just said about that report, you've got tons of stuff like that. Nigel.
I just love all that stuff.
Look, you know, I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna hold the really good stuff back. You know, for when the members. But you know, I've got another one of them reports. But that was an important game, the Everton. The other one's from a Sunderland game years after. Basically, I think it was the referee was selling off his collection. So I bought it from the Alan Civil was the ref. I think I bought it on the auction of all this stuff, and they were the only West Ham ones. Yeah. You know, it's funny because there's stuff that I lose out on, there's stuff that I get, you know, and I like collecting stupid stuff and you know, the little Corinthian figures and. You know, but everything tells a story, as you say. You know,
100%.
You know, everything tells a story. So,
good stuff.
So what? We're 3 hours 20 minutes in, Nick. What left have we got? What have we got left to do?
Well, I'll be fucked if I'm doing a Leeds preview now.
Is Neil still here? Can Neil do us a favour? Just tell me what the cricket score is. Are we still batting?
I'm gonna have a look for you.
Can someone tell me? I don't get the cricket down here.
What do you mean you don't get the cricket?
I'll tell you what
I'm in the shed.
I'll tell you what we do. Leeds at the weekend. Let's
England
just
bowled out 294.
294. So that's
Yeah.
all right. No,
Australia are batting again.
Yeah, so
Australia
they had a
on-
lead of about 118 then, didn't they?
Yeah, they were 416 for 8 declared, 294 England all out. Now they're 10 for none. Australia.
Oh,
Hang
no,
Howard Howes has said, what item is Nigel gutted about losing out on?
Oh, good question.
oh, that's I'll tell you what, I lost out on a collection of the Thames Ironwork Gazettes.
That must have been amazing. That must have been amazing. Where did they go? Who bought them?
I don't. The
You
thing
won't
about
know,
an
will you?
auction, you don't know who gets
Yeah.
them. do you?
But that's-
But that included, that
included.
included the Gazette that advertised the Thames Iron setting up by Dave Taylor.
So is that like the employees' newspaper?
Yes, yeah, it was in a
that must
band
be incredible to
band
get your hands on stuff like that.
copy. Yeah,
In the same breath, different, similar question but different. Is there anything that you've bought that you look at and think, why the fuck did I buy that? Or do you know what I mean? Not in a bad way, but in like a sort of way, like, well, that was pointless. Not really, nothing, is there?
I don't think there's anything.
that FA Cup, really. I don't know. No,
I love
not
that
the
FA Cup. Why do you not like the
know.
FA Cup?
That's an amazing FA Cup.
It's just, you know, if people go, how bonkers are you? You know, I was talking to that bloke at the times, how bonkers are you? And I went, well, I bought a full-size replica of the FA Cup.
I think that's brilliant, mate. If my missus let me spend the money on it, I'll buy one myself.
But then he's thinking, yeah, that is bonkers. And then when I explained why, you know, because it's seen some of the videos online that I've done with Sky and that in the shed, and they said, well, when you go to a club tour, like I've done club tours, Ajax, I've even done Tottenham club tour in their old ground, and you go there. And they show you the trophies. And I've done the old Upton Park tours in the 90s. And no word of a lie, and I've got photographs to prove this. You walked into this room and there was a wall cabinet.
Yeah.
You know, and they brought out the War Cup. And I got a photograph of me. I was a bit chubby. I had a bit of a goatee beard, skinhead. And I looked a bit Ian Pearcey, but looked like it stopped training. Yeah. So I was in my late 20s and I'm holding the War Cup. And we didn't even have a replica of the FA Cup in there, you know, that wall cabinet. And I'm glad I took a photograph and kept it because I go, that was West Ham's cabinet. You know, you go to Tottenham and they had glass cabinets with the FA Cup, the Cup Winners' Cup, replicas. Thinking you got to have a replica. So actually, I need a museum. So actually, you know.
You know what it is, Nige? You know immediately when you go and you spend a load of fucking money that you know you shouldn't spend, you get buyer's remorse, don't you? But in a couple of years, you look at that and think, "Oh, God.
No,
I think that's it's like with me. Like Gary will confirm this. My weakness has always been tech and gadgets, right? But and I've always been I've always kind of been really impulsive. About
12 for 1, Nige. 12 for 1, Australia.
12 for 1. But I've always been really
game.
impulsive about stuff. But as I've got older now, what I do is I still get what I want. But I have to almost build a business case in my own head as to why I'm going to get it. Is that have you started doing that, or are you still?
No, look,
the thing, and you go and get it.
What I do is that because I'm a collector, not a dealer. Yeah. So I look at it and I put a price and what the value. So that train, I looked at it and I think, right. So you got to take into account when you're buying at auction. When I put down 65 quid, if I win that, it's 20% on top. Yeah. Because you got buyers, auctioneers fees, and you got VAT and whatever.
Yeah.
So I paid £64. Oh, and you got to factor in postage and delivery. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that train, I said, right, I will bid no more than £70. Yeah. Then it would cost me 90 odd quid. So I got it for 65 quid. Now, believe me, if that went to, £75, Nigel's done, because I know something else will come up.
Yeah. Yeah.
The only
you got
time
your limits. You
I
got your
kept
limit.
going
Yeah.
was I bought an autograph collection, and the autograph collection was one man's work from just after the war up until the early 1990s, and it's every player,
Wow.
every autograph. Yeah, but not only that is he put a picture of the player and put their whole career at West Ham listed.
Wow.
Oh my God.
So it's a complete fact file. So
Yeah.
like Pop Robson plays for West Ham, leaves. So he has a sheet signed by Pop
That's
Robson.
unbelievable. Yeah.
Pop Robson comes back, he gets another sheet, puts his photograph on, gets Pop to sign it, writes his career. So all these players that like McAvenny's in there, twice. And he's done it like that, and in there, and when I say every player from
That's
like the late
unbelievable.
40s, and I've kept it in his books because I found out the man's name, and when I keep forgetting it, but I've still kept the email where I found out, because I asked a few of the old collectors of stuff, Steve Marsh, and when I explained to him what he was, he knew the bloke that had done it, because there used to be like a thing, and I'm thinking, I've bought that, but I'm the guardian of it. Yeah, like when you own a football club, you're the guardian of it. You pass it on. Someday that will go, but I will insist it goes as a collection, not broken up. Now, individually, individually, if I sold them, I could probably 10 times my money.
Yeah.
But no, because this was one man's work.
Yeah,
and
as you really put a price on that, to be honest. You know what I mean?
You can't.
But that's amazing.
We've got to come to your shed, Nigel. I'm sorry, we've got to come to your shed.
I'll tell you what we've got to do.
In your shed?
We've got to do
I've got a big
Distributio tournament.
Yeah, well, I did say that. Yeah, I've got a table big enough to play. I've sitting. What it is? I've got a dining room. I've got my old dining room table that can take 6 chairs. Like a long dining room table. It sits in the middle, so that's what I sit at.
I'll have to brush up on my tactics, and I have to go on eBay and get myself one of those old heavy teams, with a heavy bases.
Yeah. Well, you're not playing with me, West Ham. Do you know what I'd love to do? And this man, there's a bit of me that thinks, wouldn't it be great to have a Subbuteo, but then build the bowling ground around it? So you remember, when we had the Subbuteo?
Yeah.
Well, Gary, what did you have? You had all that stuff.
Well, no, I just had like the standard stuff like that. The best Subbuteo I had, right? It wasn't like the big pitch and everything else. It was the little 5-a-side one with the surrounds. That was the best, most fun Subbuteo. Can't remember what they used to call it. But on the big pitch, that was where we used to play the big games and stuff like that. But the little games, there was this like AstroTurf. Well, it was all AstroTurf anyway. But it was like a little 5-a-side pitch, and it had all like boards around the outside and goals at the end. So the ball didn't fly off or anything like that. It just bounced back into play, and that was just the best Subbuteo game because it was continuous.
Yeah, I'm trying to get my son into Subbuteo. He's just got no interest.
I've got a Subbuteo set here, but
I have. But he won't. He sort of plays it half-heartedly. I ain't got all the stands and all that. But it's
I watched a BBC thing. There's a Welsh girl who's just got into Subbuteo with her dad. She loves it, and she's so good. She's off to the Subbuteo World Cup. She's about 12 or 13. It still goes. The Subbuteo.
No, I know it still goes.
That's
brilliant. Here we go. Look, there's this thing they call it. What is it? 5-a-side Subbuteo table. This ain't the one I had, but I'm gonna do this thing right. I'm gonna pull it up here.
You're gonna share it.
Yeah, I am. I wonder if I can get it bigger.
Gary lost that final against against our cousin. He did lose.
Fuck off, I did. Right.
Still talking about
that. Share screen.
Stop smoking, Nick.
Sorry, John.
Cherry Bakewell vapes. What are you doing?
Oh no, I can't do it. It's bullshit. It's messing around me. Anyway, look, where we going? I'll tell you what. Let's not do a fucking preview of Leeds. Let's just give our
predictions. Yeah,
give our predictions for West Ham Leeds. And bear in mind, Soufau's got COVID, and who's the other guy? Right back, youngster.
Johnson.
No, youngster.
Oh, Ashby.
He's got COVID.
Yeah, but you got to bear in mind, Leeds are decimated. They ain't going to be playing a strong team. So I'm going for a convincing win on this one. I am
1-0.
All right, very quickly, before we go there, I love the floodlights. I had the floodlights, and I had the stands, and I had the little TV cameraman with a crew.
That's what I mean. You had all the gear. I
had the corner kicker. I had the what was it? I only had 2 floodlights. I didn't have 4. I had 2 because we were poor. And I could only and in the main stand, my main stand, I only had about 30 fans. And they were all in the same colour as the stand because you had to paint them yourself. So I had about 30 fans.
Was they ultras?
What I'd like is a full stadium.
It weren't Wembley Stadium, it was more Mile End Stadium.
Mile End Stadium, great stadium.
It was Mile End Stadium,
Do you know what? The funny thing about Mile End Stadium, I remember being on a train going past it, and I said to my mate, "This is about how far we'll be from the pitch at London Stadium." My mate's like, "Oh, fuck off," and he was like, "Do you know what? You're not wrong there. You know what? There's a tube in it. As you go past on the thing, you can see the stadium with the train." And actually, when you think if you're back row of the London Stadium, that's where you are. You're on the train.
That's quite a way back, isn't it? That is quite a way back. Yeah. Oh dear. But do you know what I will say before we go any further? Thank you to everyone that has watched us tonight, because you know what, it's a 3.5 hours, and we got up to about 30. It's been flitting between 30 and 45 live viewers. It's never dropped. So fuck knows how you've stayed with us all for so long, because it's
in Australia.
That's unbelievable. But that is amazing. It has not dropped once. It's been brilliant. So thank you very much. But it has been a good show. It's been a brilliant show.
It's been a brilliant show. But before we go, let's just finish our predictions for Sunday. So I'm going to go. You said 3-0. John, what'd you say?
I'm going to say a boring 1-0 to us.
Nige?
Well, I'll take 2-0 then.
All right, I'm going to take 2-1. So that's our prediction. So, Nick, back to you. Go on.
3-0.
No, you don't have to predict again. You were talking. You cop.
I don't know what I was saying now. It's gone. It's 3.5 hours. I'm fucking sure.
Anyway, look, we're done. It's been absolutely brilliant. What a great night. Thank you for joining, Nige. It's a pleasure as usual. I've loved this show tonight. I've really genuinely loved this show tonight. FA Cup, it's my dream.
Did I tell you I nearly got a mastermind for the FA Cup?
Did you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I entered mastermind, and what do is you quickly, because we've gone well over, so we might as well keep going.
Exactly,
So when you enter mastermind, you go on the BBC website and you fill in you want to go in mastermind, and then they ring you up without you knowing and go, "Oh, it's the BBC. You've entered to go on mastermind." Oh, I had to do a quiz. Yeah, and they go, "Oh, right. We're from the BBC mastermind, right? We just want to ask you some questions," and they fire more questions at you, and they go, "Right, thanks a lot. We'll be in touch."
Yeah,
and they email you again another sports quiz, and then I did that, and then they ring me up and say, like, "Congratulations, you're now through to last selection." I had to go to Wembley Stadium, and you sit in a box, and then they film you. And I had to supply 3 categories. Yeah. So my categories were FA Cup category number 1, FA Cup finals from 1969 to present day.
Yeah.
The reason why I was born in 69, and I'd actually memorised every FA Cup winner, scores, and everything from 1969 onwards. Then I did West Ham in the FA Cup finals, which I think bailed out tonight, how much I know. And then the third one was Ian Beaufort. So I thought change it up. And I thought I'd done really well, but I didn't get through to the TV. But strangely enough, and when I sat to watch the TV episode, there was a man on there who had FA Cup finals 1971 to modern day.
Are you joking?
And I did beat him by a couple of on his specialist round. But you know when you think it's easier doing at home, you know, imagine being in the chair for 2 minutes and everything else, and you know, what let me down at Wembley Stadium was the horse racing questions. Funny enough, I got all confused with. I always remember they asked me where the St Leger was run. I think it's Doncaster, and I think I said Newmarket. And the King George's, I think I said Sandown Park, and that's Kempton Park. You know, it was I always remember stuff like that. But yeah, so the FA Cup again, as you said earlier, I was brought up 75, first FA Cup final, we won that.
Yeah.
Then from the age of 7, watching Man United win it, I can go Man United, beat Liverpool 2-1, Ipswich 1-0, Arsenal, West Ham, Spurs 2 years running.
Yeah.
83 was Man United beat Brighton, Smith must score.
Yeah.
84 Liverpool. 84 was Everton beat Watford. Andy Gray. 85. 85. Man United beat Everton. First sending off Kevin Moran.
Norman Whiteside
curler.
Yeah.
Then 86 we go Liverpool beat Everton.
Yeah.
87 Coventry beat Spurs. 88 Wimbledon.
That's the first one I remember. 87 was the first one I remember.
Yeah.
Was it Keith Houchin? Keith
Houchin, the header, yeah.
That's the first one I remember.
Yeah. 89. Again, Liverpool and Everton again after ISIL. And then we go to 90.
Wimbledon. When was Wimbledon?
Wimbledon was 89, wasn't it?
88.
Yeah.
91, we go Spurs again. Bloody hell.
Fucking Spurs.
Yeah.
But no, look, it's been a truly brilliant night. We all love the FA Cup. I think you can tell we all love the FA Cup and we want to win it, which means we're going to get knocked out on Sunday. But anyway, look.
Gary, look, one minute. Nigel, before you go, right, we did our longest show ever the other day, right? That was when we did the Watford game. Now in that game, right, we did the match builder. We did the watch along, and then we did a match preview and a match ratings, and this show has gone on longer. It's actually gone on longer, but only by 2 minutes so far. But it's
for those watching, there's a big thing, about you think how long West Ham and Leeds have been playing each other, yeah. This is only the third time in history we've been drawn in the FA Cup against each other. The last time was 92 years ago. Vic Watson scored 4 goals in a 4-1 win. And you can read all about it Sunday morning on my website.
Is that the last time we played him in the FA Cup?
Yes.
Wow, that is amazing. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. But that is, look, we got to beat them because we want a cup run. I think it's clear we all want a cup run from what we said in this video. We spent nearly 4 hours talking about the FA Cup and everything else that goes with it. It's been our best show. I'm not even.
It's flown by.
Saying now. I've absolutely loved it. I've absolutely loved it tonight. I think we all have. So thank you, Nigel, again for joining us. Thank you, Nick and John. That's all right. Please, all you out there, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification icon.
Nigel's got
but until what we're probably going to do, I think we're back on. Nick, you can do a watch along on Sunday because I'm going to the game. You can do a watch along on Sunday, Nick.
Oh, I don't know if I'll probably still be asleep after this show, to be honest.
Yeah, but anyway, look, Nick's going to do a watch along on Sunday. Maybe joined by John. We don't know yet, but we'll do the hangover on Sunday night to talk about what happened.
I don't think I'm going to do a watch along. I'm not going to do a watch along. We'll do a review. All right.
So we'll do a review stroke hangover show 9 p.m. on a Sunday night. That'll be the next time you see us.
Yeah.
Until then, thank you for joining us. Really enjoyed your company. It's been brilliant. See you soon. Come on, you irons.
And we'll have some drinks.